I'm actually surprised about the Breeze map because we didn't see it come in yesterday, so I wonder how it's going to work out on this one.
I was expecting to see a Breeze yesterday, actually. The fact Order then didn't go for one makes me think that they left it to float around for today. We see Ascent as the second map. For me, this actually really caters to Order. They're going to be in a very, very comfortable position for the rest of this veto. There's a world where this goes 2-0 Order. However, Onyx, remember... I say that.
Yeah, wait, you can't just say that.
That's a strong statement. I'll slide it in because right now Order have really done well for this veto. With Icebox being the decider, for me it's just the APAC map. Everyone loves Iceboxes. Christmas goes last. It's what everyone looks forward to, right?
For me, it feels like, okay, if Onyx go for that Ascent pick, there's a reason behind it. I mean,
there has to be, right?
There's been a long time since we've seen them in action in officials. I think it's definitely a staple and staple reason why they're actually going for this, and they've got things prepped in the back.
It has to be. Final point. Final point is, while I have said Order may be able to 2-0, I'm still standing by Onyx purely because Order, they need everyone firing all cylinders, playing their absolute best. There's the chance, but a lot needs to kind of fall into place for that to happen.
Pablos, we got a waffler.
Where's your hope?
We have a waffler.
I need some of that. I'm just looking for a canister, you know.
I've just seen MITH do really well. I'm now really looking forward to all the upsets that could possibly happen, right?
All right, well, Order and Onyx G are next on the plate. Who will win? Let's find out after we take a short break. You're watching APAC LCQ.
Because we love them so much, but we do know how strong a lot of these other players are. And of course, Onyx G coming in as the second seed of this entire competition is a scary, scary prospect for Order to be playing up against. Now, Kremer did mention on the desk, though, of course, this is a very, very good veto for Order. However, I'm sure that Onyx G have done their research and they're going to have something in store for the Order side. So they can't get complacent, they have to start strong, and they need to move very well if they get a win on Breeze.
I think it is a very bold statement for Order to be picking Breeze as their map as well. We know that it is a comfort pick from them, but as it was alluded to before, they shied away from it in their opening stage. So whilst we do look at the agents, I'm more leaning towards the fact if we do see a repetition, if we see something that we've got these teams playing before, or if we're going into new territory. And it is looking like being a bit of the familiar territory for the side of Order at the moment, which means you would be expecting to see kind of what they do normally come out with here. But on the flip side, over towards Onyx.
This is completely different. RDW on the KO, Disco on the chamber. This is massive, Komodo. I think this could be a really, really exciting thing to see because it is going to completely shake up the way that we do see Order play. Onyx G, again, as you mentioned, probably a little bit more common of what we can expect, but the strength and the, you know, I guess the youth that they've got going right now. It's crazy stuff to see. But look, overall, I think, you know, a little bit of a change up of through, does play the anti, spotted. They get the info, but he's missed a couple of shots here. Still does have the rendezvous available, but they've got
Slasher with the Wolf as well, able to bite down on towards Texter, made that duel a little bit awkward, and in the player advantage for Onic G. The spike does go down, but RDW with a quick little flank happening. He is currently the only one that they're looking for the hunt as well onto Severine, but he's going to get right-clicked out by the Classic, and with this Toxic Drain, you know that Onic are going to push through this, bully their way to lock down this round, and end it just like that. Ronski now in an almost impossible situation with this 1 versus 4, Sheriff in hand. But nobody's giving him the opportunity for the duels at the moment. Now he's been noted, and his grave is where he will be finding.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a groggy sort of position there. You know, Texter getting caught by that stun, so it made it very awkward for him on the way in. And then they just couldn't quite get themselves there. We got to see Onic push through the toxic screen, really get that pinch onto Maple. So overall, you know, fantastic stuff from Onic. I think a really electric way to start Breeze is a real kind of foot down on the map, and you know, something they can bound off on into the next couple of rounds.
Absolutely, and of one for us, it kind of is just one of those rounds where, yeah, Order, you look for a little bit of damage, of course, but really it's going to be that next one to see what they can do.
So just the walk into elbow again. Maple having a spot down Tube, but nothing has been seen. Disco, great shot onto Elmi Moore. And that is going to sort of set them off a little bit. Look at this already. The wrap straight in. Cave is taken upon, but Maple sitting at the pyramids. He's going to have to wait. He'll spot all that information shortly. Yeah.
He's going to be really careful if anyone does push through the screen, and that's exactly what's happening. But somehow with the Classic, he's able to find it, and even a dink on towards NC Slasher, which means no self-heals to be happening. The spike carrier's down as well, with Ronski finding him. This round is becoming shambles for Onic G. Disco to Severine, and now it is just Shiro in a 1 versus 3. Can he find 3 1v1s, though, is the question.
Exactly. They've got to be so careful. This is Order's round to lose here right now. Shiro does have the spike in hand. He's going to be able to walk his way through those double doors, and looks like he's actually potentially setting his sights. No, I was going to say B, but no, he's clearing back into the flank on Cave. Is he going to be able to get the jump?
Yeah, well, 40 seconds. He can navigate his way silently for a little bit more, but already Disco is aware of this factor. They're covering all of their angles, leading Texter to go for a bit of a hunt. They know where Shiro is. They tag him as well, which means pretty much any of these guns that Order are currently carrying will be able to finish him off. A plant here, and an attempt with 23 HP. Let's see how he achieves this.
Well, this is something we already saw Order pull out yesterday against Fancy United, right? A second round Classic buy is just something that should never happen, and it was Onic G really sort of falling into the hand there, trying to push that toxic screen. Maple getting the dink off onto the second player as well, and Disco getting that forward-thinking play down towards elbow. Really sets him up for a fantastic position. Ronski's gone down. He's got to be careful, but it's Disco with the 3K, and that's the man we were talking about, right? He was the Raze extraordinaire that we used to see on Icebox, and, you know, he's basically ever since then been placed onto that KO, placed onto that Killjoy, and now we're finally starting to see him get a bit of that extra life back. He's had a long, long history of FPSD on, and now we're getting to see him on the chamber, which is the big shooty boy with both those headhunters and Tour de Force, and he's sitting at the top of the server already 3-1 with a great start, great response, 1-1 on the scoreline.
That round is definitely a wake-up call over towards Onic G as well, right? As you mentioned, you should never be dropping toward the Classics in this sort of fashion, and it was the very quick nature for Order to get in towards Cave through mid as well that really upset the balance. So for Onic G, they're going to be down into these pistols now, and they're going to have a discussion between themselves. What do they do when it does look in towards the betterment of the guns for themselves as well? Or maybe you just throw caution to the wind and somehow you're able to buy back over towards Order that do what they just did to you.
So how do they reapproach this one, Onic? Sheriff's up. Always an opportunity to do the exact same. Versus going to go in, same toxic screen. And Ronski's going to ready himself this time. He's actually pretty keen for an overextension, but it's going to work out well. There's one, there's a second, but Tailwind the wrong way. Little unfortunate there, the left instead of the right, and RDW does get a good response, but that is going to be that Vandal.
No ammo.
Dropped by Maple. Exactly right, no ammo. Didn't get that time to reload, so it's all on a Severine 1 versus 4. And he will go down quickly. So a great counter eco there from Order. Good response. And now Onic G should be looking to face up that buy.
Yeah, nothing to really write home about in that round for Onic G. Just trying to do a quick execute in towards the A side, try to get the plant down and maybe wrestle with Order after the fact. But already, you know, denied by Ronski, starting to get early into this game would be really good for him individually as well with the performance we weren't seeing from him yesterday. But this is the round, Conky. This is the one where we need to see something come through from both of these sides. Everybody's got those guns up. Disco has an operator as well coming into round number 4, which is always going to be a bit of an excitement factor. But for me, right now, it is for Onic G. We've gone a little bit fast in the previous rounds. Does that change here?
Well, yeah, straight out. Ronski, unfortunately, does fall into that. And I mean, look, he only had a Bulldog. It was a bit of a tougher fight to find, but, you know, we just need to make sure that doesn't continue to occur. Ronski arguably could be put up as the best talent to come out of the Oceanic region, but his consistency is what is plagued. He's a super excitable and aggressive player, and if he can't quite get that opening duel, which obviously back in Australia, he can absolutely dome everyone, but in Asia, everyone's cracked. It's insane, so they've got to be ready for it as all.
A minute on the clock. The wall goes up over at the A site as well, and this is where the shift does start to come through from Order. They know exactly where one member is at the moment for Maple, but with this spike starting to go down, the pit is here as well for Severine, but Maple denies that. A dart out, and that's the pit down. He's got a massive reveal and the spray down. Everything is happening around this site for Order right now. NC Slasher falls over as well, and Order, they crush it down.
That's the one you want to see very quickly, and it's again, Impact Man in Maple. Not always the flashiest player, not always the top fragger, but sometimes, some way, he does find this impact. And all across the board for Order so far, we have seen every individual step up to the plate, which is exactly what you're going to need to see, because Onic G, there is that battle between, you know, Australia and Indonesia right now, of the strength to strength, and Onic G have so much to prove.
And you can see early on as well, Severine immediately trying to get that pit over towards the default plan spot, but you'd already had mollies on the floor from Techstar, and just quick shots to come through from Maple. The pit didn't even fully spawn before he was dead.
A gift.
Back to the Sheriff, straight up mid this time, just the headhunter for Elmi Moore again, and look at Ronski, he's already keen to start having a look. But again, they've always got to be careful. You know, we've watched Monyet and how strong he is of a player. They do get that info. Maple now sending. Now drone inside mid will be destroyed, but again, Ronski's so keen. Look at it now, there's one. The guiding light goes through, but it's great. It's perfect, there's Ronski. It's just eco-frag Skonky, settle down, but there's 3 of them.
Oh, look, he's still running a mark, isn't he? He's going to overlook the bricks, but maybe he could have attempted an ace,
Severine.
But maybe Severine actually finding some damage here out with this Sheriff, and that is going to be it. Yeah.
Too much lost, but still, great result. Ronski, hungry, those are the eco-frags that he needs to drive himself forward.
Yeah, and this is the guns time again for Onic. Not going to be opting for a pause at the moment to try and reset themselves. They'll be feeling comfortable going into this new gun round as well. The thing is, they have seen a lot of early contests from Order in this game just yet at the moment. Yeah,
Team Flash, so that's a little bit awkward there for Onic G.
But as I was mentioning, they've seen a lot of aggression from Order so far, right? Cave control, mid-pressure, not too much over towards B, but a little bit of an elbow creep here and there. This round for Order, I feel that changes it. 2 operators generally will slow things down.
Settle down for sure. Ronski's likely going to take an aggressive line. He's taking it over from Pyramids. That's going to allow RDW to sort of walk his way into Cave. And he's already looking to get that position. He's straight in there, and now it's going to be onto this defense. They've left mid completely open. There's already a member over in window as well.
Yeah, a bit more of a default to come through for Onic G here at the moment. Bit of a holes pop for Elmi Moore, but he gets his head popped off, and that's going to be the opening pick for Order. And the onus definitely now is on Onic G to do something to get back into it. Apparently, NC Slasher, his choice of that is bringing out the Seekers, but really, they're gone now. Yeah, so it's null information.
Like where that pick was found by RDW, right? He was looking all the way up to the top of Tube. Like to be able to get into that position with Ronski on the line is Order being proactive. They're getting in there early, and Onic G, they feel like they've got their backs up against the wall. They're a team that is dominant, they're aggressive, and they need to push back.
Oh. We're hearing the ultimates being popped out. At the moment, it looks like Onic G are going to set up for an A-sided pop. They've got the wall down there currently from Severine. They have Shiro with the Hunter's Fury. His dart as well still available at the moment. So it almost feels like perfect timing that Order ripped that in. But now with 30 seconds, do Onic G still just try to look to pivot over towards this A site? You've got Severine lurking in mid, which disconnects him from the fight, making it still in the favor of Onic G with the 3 versus 2 at the moment. Let's see if they can break in.
It's the only place they can go. 20 seconds. Have to push quickly. RDW, great flash in, but unfortunately, shots are a little bit shaky. Now Ronski tries to open up with the Blade Storm, but he's going to be taken down. And look at this lurk, the rotation from Techstar, punished by Severine. And also Maple pressures on now. Monyet jumps up, but he has been taken. Now the plan of the spike does have to go in. Maple's moving quickly, but Severine, he's in a fantastic position here. It's going to be onto Disco to try and support. They have to clear. NC Slasher, very, very low here, but that's that cross. There's that spot, and he's got it. Found it. Disco now knows exactly where this member is of Severine, but he's been cleared. He's held the cross, and Shiro, he's got the job done. A 3v5 for Onic G.
The patience as well after being met with the null command from RDW to fall back, make sure there's no overextension from the order members, just reset internally and then go back at it for the execution over to the A side. A perfect mid-flank cutoff as well with the Lurker and Severine sitting there. But man, a couple of whiff shots as well, all things considered, from the order members can technically make things a little bit easier from Onyx G, right? The Blade Storm misses out from Ronski, RDW's flash drive as well. Yes, it was a beautiful flash, but unfortunately, he couldn't convert that into the frags.
And they've got nothing now. Just a tour de force from Disco. He's going to activate that one. Where will he take it? That's the question. It looks like he's sent straight down towards mid. So he's looking through those doors, and he's got info already. But Elmi Moore and Monyet, he's just going to be going straight through. Look at this rat. Look at this, going straight into Akemoto.
And Ronski just got revealed as well. A secondary pop on toward his location, but the Blades miss. At least NC Slasher is there to assist. But Disco now with the tour de force. Everything is happening. These battles are still heavily slanted over towards Onyx G to try and close this round down. Disco with the tour de force. Texter coming in from a different location behind the wall. A pop through it and he finds it as well, but now it's all on to the captain, the leader in charge for Order. A spike plant open for the coverage from Onyx G as well, and you know they're just going to play protective right now. Elmi Moore misses a tour de force shot, however, and Texter is very narrow focused on this duel. A 1 versus 1, knows exactly where Monyet is playing from, sees his head, takes the frag, and Texter comes in with the clutch.
For anyone watching along at home, do you know how challenging it is to not only IGL, not only play controller, but be this much of a god at the game? The man has been all around the world in FPS, and he's showing us exactly why here. The 1v3 to close out the round 5-2. A monster in Texter. Onyx G did massive, massive things. Elmi Moore finally starting to activate. He's been a little bit quiet on this chamber, and again, attacking side, a bit more challenging. So look, so far Onyx G, they are throwing things in. They're certainly keeping Ronski stemmed, but Disco, Texter, the veterans, they are getting the job done.
2v4, man. A push through the own wall to still win out the frag. A little bit of a trampoline battle as well between those Jets, and a kill taken out by NC Slasher, but you got to be really feeling it if you are Onyx G at the moment. These rounds where you've got such an advantage that you are falling over, and now into the fresh round where you've essentially gone in for a bit of a half buy, yeah, for sure, but you have lost the opening pick in the first 10 seconds.
They haven't gone B. That's the main thing here. Just that pistol round right now. They're looking for a little bit more space. It's going to be Monyet. He's actually taken very, very low, but RDW are going to be completely blinded here. Disco spotted. That's going to make it hard. Really, really awkward now. It's an awkward fight line to find with this operator, and being spotted, it just, again, so tough, but the wallbang onto Monyet from Texter, that's massive. Now Maple keeps his focus, keeps his composure, but it all goes back to the captain in the 1v2 here. Again, Komodo, Onyx G forcing them, backs up against the wall, that pressure, spotting out the shoulder. Shiro on the line, but now he has to cross, now he has to clear, and it will be Shiro, the sniper, to shut down the captain of Texter, and around goes straight back for Onyx G.
Stolen, the operator, out of the hands of a dead Disco right now as well, and you could just see a couple of missed shots from him could have been key for bringing the round back over towards Order. But for Onyx G, you're exactly correct in the mentioning that they hadn't really wrestled with the fact of the B side here, getting into Order quickly, overwhelming Order with sheer numbers, and even though it was those lesser weapons that I did mention, and the fact that they lost the first pick in that round, Elmi Moore out of the equation, they're still able to break it down, steal the guns and close it.
That was the first round where we really saw Onyx feel the, Order feel the pressure. Onyx applied it, they forced straight in towards B. That's where they found the first round, that's where now they found the third round. So that's where we do need to start to see a little bit more. Disco, he tried to find it only with that headhunter, but Monyet does manage to punish, and unfortunately only just a little bit of chip damage there as well, so not much to talk about. They're setting their sights straight onto B again, Komodo. This is where they did manage to get it last, and a wallbang shot onto Maple from Elmi Moore, finding that round towards Elbow. Now he has to use that rendezvous to get out. Texter repositioned. Oh no, the timing, almost the call was perfect from Elmi Moore, but now Ronski has to try pick up more. The pieces have been dropped, the puzzle has been dropped, and RDW should be able to hear this rotation. If he can drop down the rope, it might be enough time. He's heard the orb.
Yeah, a 1 versus 4 though is always going to be a strugglesome thing. A single flash, a blade for sure, but as soon as his position is revealed, he has to do everything. He could find the timing. They're not looking at him at the moment, maybe expecting that Elmi Moore is watching this flank. There's the first one, doesn't know there's a second player over at the pyramids, does now. But Severine tucked in toward the bricks. It's going to have to be destroyed or revealed, and the flash gets pulled out. That's unfortunate.
It's always those moments where you kind of want to see the highlight play, irrespective of who it is, but he definitely had the right position. If he saw the other side of pyramids, maybe, but Onic G locking it down. Yeah,
and the thing about that as well, Order again trying to push this directive of going fast, right? Really getting into the faces of Onic. You could see that Texter, even though that the operator shot was gone over toward him, he still continued to essentially push toward their spawn through the other side of the KFB main, rather, past elbow, taking a duel that sees two players, falls over very quickly.
The comms were quick. That's what I feel like, right? The second that he knew that he was making his way past that window, Disco here, it does happen to the best of us. Ronski also found a nice shot, but Elmi Moore in that round was pivotal, I do believe, in his rotative position. Instead of going and trying to find the fight to RDW, he instead wraps around, tries to join his team towards those double doors, and now Coach Dick Stacey has likely called this pause. It's a perfect time to settle the medal and time out and relax to work out what exactly is going on. We do obviously have the Marshals and the Sheriffs picked up here, and this is really that, I guess, well, the last couple of rounds was that swing round for Onic G, where they can really get that momentum back.
Yeah, and of course, coming into this, it's the opening map of the series. Onic G's first showcase here in the LCQ. They, got the little path over into the second part of the bracket, but for Order, we saw the opening map yesterday, and the fact that it was a 2-0 should give them some bold confidence coming in toward this series. And look, 5 rounds on the defensive side already on this map is good, right? It is a great start, but they want to be chasing more. And the problem now is the fact that Onic are getting very, very close, right? Knocking on their door. It's an eco round for Order right now, so it probably will tend in towards an equalization, 5 apiece. And then we might be selling a bit of a story where Onic G can take the lead.
Yeah. They take the lead on the attacking side. That's where we really start to throw caution to the wind, I guess. We look at this veto and it was like, okay, Order have actually got a really, really solid one, but look at this rotation straight in. They've got a read, they've got something. But it's not the correct read. It does seem. Spike still dropped. Look at this lurk now. The rotation and wrap back to B. Order are nowhere to be found.
So this is one of the things, right? With Order being so aggressive time and time again, the fact that Onic G aren't seeing them immediately means that something's up, right? Means that there's a different plan that Order have gone in with. And now that Tex has been taken down to 1 HP in mid, Onic G have been presented with a bunch of information and knowledge they can work with.
No info either. Gains. RDW throwing down that 0 point. He is creeping into the elbow position now. Was actually just tagging 1, so he's going to lock onto that line. Severin already has made his way through. It's going to be awkward, going to be tough. Monyet with the pick, and that's going to be the pit going down as well. So it should be a nice and easy waltz in towards B for Onic G.
Yeah, no one's on the side as well to contest this at the moment. Ronski only has this Marshal. Meanwhile, Texter did fall over toward the operator of Elmi Moore. So things are coming up hunky-dory in this round for Onic G. They even might be able to finish this one off, holding every single gun into the next round. But Ronski has crept up, caught NC Slasher using a bit of his utility. And yeah, for sure, some trades are here, but the round essentially is done and dusted. Maple lurking in the pit, seeing what he can find, and it is actually going to be the Viper player in Severin. Maybe even a second onto Monyet, but he does narrowly escape. Damage is the name of the game in this round, of course, but for 5v5 is what we are going to be seeing.
Well done from Monyet. Just consistent, keeping their eyes on him. Sort of dashing around, making it really awkward, changing positions rapidly, and very much throwing the kitchen sink at Order in these last couple of rounds, right? Onic G, they've woken up, and, what started what was looking really strong for Order, and that's where exactly I mean, right? You can't just rely on this sort of initial burst of life. It has to be consistent. It has to drag all the way through, because whilst we do know that Order have a fantastic attacking side on Breeze, Onic G, I'm sure their defense is going to look disgustingly good. Monyet likely to pick up that operator. Elmi Moore continuing to do the exact same thing. And overall, it does appear that all teammates are doing their part.
And you talk about a defensive side for Onic G as well. 57% win rate over on those defensive rounds is quite close, right? It's nothing, I feel like over 60% is generally something that's really good anyways, but 57, it's getting close. And for the flip of that, for Order, they're on the defensive side. They need more right now. They're doing a good job of containing over towards this B side at the moment, but there are the frags starting to flow on through from Onic.
Yeah, straight away, they've lost the 2 defending members, and now that means that slow walk creep on the rotation. B-side has been absolutely everything here for Onic G. There's a leak and they haven't been able to plug it. Ronski looking the absolute wrong way. Elmi Moore going to be able to punish him, and I think that's going to be a save.
Yeah,
Maple RDW taking it to the next round. I wonder sort of what was the chat in that timeout, right? Because again, it's just only been that B-side. A has been squeaky clean for Order, but Onic G just have been able to break straight through.
That's the thing, right? Onic G have now realized what the gaps and what the flaws are for Order's defensive side right now.
Didn't take them long.
And they were abusing it.
Yeah, didn't take them long at all.
The only thing and the only question that I am kind of wondering now is you've got one more round on this attacker side, and then things switch over.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really concerning here for Order. They are going to be able to save those rifles, which is an important thing here. A little bit shaky there for Maple. But overall, nicely done. You know, I've got to admit, onic have very much impressed me here to be able to have that consideration and clean up shop. Basically, Maple does drop in the end. So it's going to be only RDW. What's the cash look like? There's going to be a couple of scrappy positions, you know, but what we haven't seen is maybe a little bit more forward thinking. It's almost like they've left Elbow completely open these last couple of rounds. Order.
Yeah, the last couple of rounds, right? We saw Disco trying to push down there a little bit earlier.
He was getting all the control at the start.
Exactly, but the problem is with that control, not so much an overextension, but not able to capitalize on an opening frag.
They definitely have to get that back. It's going to be Ronski down to only the Bladestorm and Disco picking up the Guardian. So it's a bit of a scrappy looking round here from Order to close out the half.
I'm kind of wondering because he's got $2,500 spare and
yeah,
the Bladestorm, but regardless,
exactly.
He's running down mid, so we'll see what he can do with this one right now. The Tailwind is going to expire, and meanwhile, Order are removing themselves from the A side. There is the big old peek from the man to find the first pick. But as I mentioned, the A side, it was left, and now onic have it.
They've completely changed up their focus, which is totally fair. Now, Ronski, if he can creep on in on this flank without being spotted, it might be awkward. Maple, he's fighting the wrong fight here. Texter did have the flank position, but now it's gotten a little bit awkward. Ronski should spot, does get it, gets the reset, but Shiro can punish him, can take him down. Unfortunately, RDW has been dropped on the back of that null command, still yet to be rezzed, still yet to be brought back to life here. Disco, he's going to get punished by NC Slasher, and ultimately it's onic with a decimation on the return. 7-5 in the half. And they are looking awesome as they switch onto the favored defensive of Breeze.
Yeah, you'd expect them to be pretty happy with a 7-5 scoreline, specifically in the fact that they lost that second round to those classics of Order as well. 4 in a row. Order starting to feel pretty comfortable with how they're playing on the defensive side. But then, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, right, onic are realizing exactly what they need to do to break down the defenses of Order. It was those B site attacks very rapidly that kind of steered the ship in toward the port that they wanted to land at.
Just trying to think, what do we need? It's got to be a bit of a change up here from Order because the consistency, and again, if onic can take that pacing that they have held into the next half, it's going to be really scary. It's going to be really dicey, right? You know, winning that pistol round will certainly change everything. You know, Order have been plagued with losing these pistol rounds in the past, right? You know, quite commonly we would see them, you know, win a series without cooking up a single or just one pistol. But yeah, look, it just felt like there was holes in those defenses, right? And Breeze is a map where you can take that early real estate, push yourself in and kind of lock down and then allow the rest of the maps to be sort of spaced out.
And I think that was one of the contributing factors that helped Order in their match against Fancy United yesterday was the fact that they won 3 out of 4 pistol rounds and they were able to have a good showcase after those pistol rounds.
Their early round aggression was good too.
Correct. So the fact that they dropped the pistol round first here, I think this is a null and void case because they get that second round, but this is going to be the time now that if they don't get this pistol round, you start to see the blooming of onic's defensive side. You start to see it maybe get a little bit too far forward, then Order have to contemplate, all right, how do we really get back into this one? Because remember, this was their map pick, so they were feeling very comfortable to take onic on Breeze.
Was the map that Fancy United banned out against them, right? They've done their research. This was the one that they came out absolutely swinging, 13-4 against Oasis in the last stage of VCT. So it's a very big statement for onic to look strong at this one. And I know they've fought off against like Xerxia and stuff in the past. You know, they've certainly got better practice when it comes to who they get to scrim, who they get to play officials against on the regular. But now, Komodo, they are going to be looking to get straight out onto this A site. There is 3 members ready, but they have been spotted, located quickly, and that's going to be the spike drop by Monyet.
A big reveal from Shiro's recon dart as well, and he's still got a shocky that he can throw on through. That does land on Ronski and Texter, but Ronski says no to that. But I have a feeling that onic are going to be able to lock down this A site, and you want to know why? Because the rest of the boys on Order weren't there to help the guys at the pyramid. They're all disconnected at the moment, and it's only on to RDW in the 1 versus 4. The battle is won against Severine, but this is where you would expect him to lose his life, and he will indeed.
A little bit unlucky there, I suppose, but it's that hesitation once more. You know, you've got Ronski first on site. He gets a great swing, great shot, but then you see Severine make his way back through the doors, and he's 15-10 on this Viper right now. You know, to be able to do that with the Classic at that long distance, being able to just pot shot, like really not feeling any pressure, not feeling the contest. And that's kind of what has, again, always plagued Order, right? When they're not moving as that unit, they're constantly watching each other's backs, their flanks, and that's something that doesn't quite commonly happen back in Oceania, right? Teams are too cautious. Teams are always pretty regular to just sort of sit back on those sites and not kind of hold W into your spawn, right?
Yep.
Throw that out the window in APAC. That always happens, and you've got to be ready for it, but I feel like Order are overthinking it.
Oh, look, potentially so. They've got the game plan that they're going in with, and now with the classics, we'll see if they can do what they did in the first half. A little bit of an interest over towards the B site at the moment, but you've already got the shifts from Onyx G starting to come over here as well. Severine pitching himself up a tent at the Archers. Meanwhile, you've also got NC Slasher that did just get the reveal on the guiding light for the information. That will have expired, usually for now.
Much more chill. Just waiting to see if anything does get thrown out. Some info off the back of that guiding light, but it's going to be orb farming game again for RDW. Already very, very close to that null command.
I like the fact that Ronski's kind of on an island by himself as well, down mid, right? He's playing that lurker role, making sure that no one's coming through the doors for that rotation at the moment before the rest of his squad try an assault in towards the B side.
They've got the spot. Info off the back of that guiding light once more. It's going to be Disco. Can he find the shot? No, unfortunately not. NC Slasher a little bit too quick. Did manage to destroy the dart and get the job done very, very quickly. Monyet does get tagged up, falls back, but in good position. This is now where you mentioned Ronski pops the tailwind. Where's he going to go with it? Shiro should be able to spot him. No, he's walked completely underneath.
He's tucked the bun, hasn't he? But the dart's going to get the reveal. He can't escape that one. And now the rest of Onyx G finding the members all across the site. A flawless round in the end. A bit of chip damage, yes, for sure.
Fantastic stuff from Shiro, you know, to be able to utilize that that recon bolt to check out the info to see that he did actually slip underneath him, made Ronski panic a little bit, had to look the other way. But look, you throw that round out the window for now, just that classic eco. We've seen him win a couple, but realistically, that's how a round like that should have gone. Onyx G play it clean, Onyx G play it together, and they close out a round as well. So they have really extended themselves forward now. Komodo 9-5 in this opening map.
And now into the bonus round as well, right? It comes down to that research factor for Onyx G. What do they think that Order are going to be throwing at them in a round such as this? You can look towards your scoreboard and you can see that RDW is one away from the null command. It could be a very viable ultimate to gain entry in toward one of these sites, make it a little bit easier. We've seen a lot of reconnaissance from Shiro yield reward, but for right now, they're changing it up as well. It's Onyx G getting aggressive on this defensive side, and look how much space they've already found down through these caves. A beautiful opener from Elmi Moore. Ronski's done.
Done and dusted. Again, the Ronski lurk punished early, and that's what these teams have been doing so well, you know, keeping him out of the server, keeping him kind of on a leash as best as possible, and not allowing him that free reign that we did get to see on Oasis with those aggressive B-side takes. Elmi Moore does actually manage to tag up onto Maple a little bit. Now RDW, great flash, but the rendezvous gets him out of there. Will be punished, will be taken, so there's a little bit more space here, and Texter, fantastic spot, but NC Slasher, very wise to rotate back out.
Texter needs to make sure he's not too narrow focused on this little lurk play right now. He needs to be able to assist his team, or maybe not if RDW can find the frag onto Monyet. 2 HP he is frolicking around with the rest of his squad coming in through the elbow for a bit of a lurk. And just look at this, Monyet is toying with him. That's exactly right. Keep him here for the players to come through from the flank at the moment, and now that's exactly where everything's going to start to have happen. Texter has joined the party here, and so has Shiro and Severine. This is where things look a little bit more dangerous for Order, as the hunt is certainly on from Shiro. A pre-fire denied, and it's all on to Severine, but taken down.
A lot of pressure there onto RDW's positioning right now. You know, we see Monyet just doing something so simple as keeping his focus, because the way that they were rotating in through mid, they were trying to get through Link and ultimately then wrap around and isolate RDW into that position. Unfortunately, couldn't quite happen. RD knew that he had the fragment, sent it over, got the frag, and then now was able to refocus his set back. But to have it go down to just 2 members against that bonus is a little rough, I got to admit.
Yeah, and in the end as well, as far as you're happy with damage, you know, for Onyx G, right? 4 frags they're able to find in the end in that one, and it makes this next round look a little bit more shaky for Order. You got light shields for one of the members. Disco is down on towards the... Help me out here, I'm actually forgetting the word of this gun. Regardless, the Spectre, that's the one. RDW is going to be able to find the first one onto NC Slasher, and again, Monyet is trying to hide in amongst one of his own cloud bursts, but this pressure, again, building Order, changing pace, going a little bit faster through mid. They do seek themselves this advantage.
Doesn't always need that Spectre, pulls out the Headhunter, gets one before he's traded, and it's now that advantage, as you mentioned. Onyx G, waiting patiently, walking in towards the tube here now. Texter Keeping his spot, having a watch all the way through, but he's looking the wrong way at the wrong time, and now he's punished, and this should give info straight away as to exactly where they're going. Maple does have the spike. He's very, very forward, and surely he's got to go for the call. He's got to get the information shortly, because look at Shiro repositioning into the spot. Elmi Moore also going to be popping down those rendezvous as the spike does get planted. Severine, great pick on Ronski, though. Now a 2v3, still very, very awkward here. RDW does get to destroy that recon bolt, but already he's been spotted. They have the info, and there's the shock dart. Shiro, a 3k, a monstrous round again from the Sova here. It's the impact man, and now all onto Maple. More damage again from Shiro, and now they're going to be looking. Now they're going to be 3-on-1. Again, you win a 3v1, lose a bunch of 1v3s, and there we go. Onyx G, double digits here. And Order have certainly got to be feeling the pressure now here, Komodo, on their pocket pick of Breeze.
A very big problem posed by Onyx G there as well, with the fact that they had 3 angles of retake to come in through. One through toward the caves, one through the doors, and one over towards the bridge as well. 3 angles that any one of the members on Onyx G could have found the opening frag. It just so happens to be Severine over toward the caves, and that just steers so much focus away from the actual site where the rest of his teammates can then come from. And he had already repositioned over toward the mid doors to get up with his buddy as well.
Yeah,
so
I just absolutely love that round from Shiro. You know, to be able to push straight into the hall is just insane kind of awareness. You know, you kind of know there's clearly comms that the team has been moving around the map accordingly. You have to adjust, moves in, spots back, gets the flank, and then to be able to reposition and do all that damage with the Sova utility as well is massive. But Elmi Moore keeping a spot onto Techstar does get a little bit of damage, but how are they going to go? They are arching in. They are moving accordingly, but there's 3 members here, Komodo, of Onyx G trying to lock this one down, and they're still splitting accordingly. Ronski has started to fall back, and look, RDW is still waiting, so maybe it might not end on B.
Onyx G are really happy to play 3 players at B. They're really happy to play off of the A site and go in for a retake. They've showcased they can do that a lot, and this is exactly why. You've got numbers on the B side, and you can really look to lock it down. NC Slasher finds 2. Remember, it is just the Sheriffs and that Marshal to come in for Order in this round, but that means that Onyx would find their 11th if they're able to close this one. With 50 seconds to go, it is Texter trying to help his team, but he's caught off guard yet again. And for Ronski and RDW, I feel like the time is nigh. RDW's in their spawn, but you've already got Shiro looking for that one. He's found his number, but the 145 in one. RDW will finish it off, but now he's the lone soldier. He would need an ace here, Conky. He's, 2/5 of the way.
30 seconds left.
Where's he going to go with it? Looks like he might actually try and save out this Vandal potentially, or just wrap through those double doors, reposition accordingly. But, once again, just the analysis that I can make is the way that Order, they kind of just feel like they're one step behind. Onyx G have always kind of had the over-positioning. They're able to adapt to the space really, really well. And Breeze is a map where you can kind of cut past each other, right? Knifing through mid, getting into nest, clearing around that way accordingly. RDW needs to go down. He needs to go down quick. He might actually go down after time here, Komodo. I think he will. Was that just? I can't tell. We'll have to see when the cash pops up. But yeah, again, it's just really, really odd from Order. You got 3 members ready to burst through the lane and get straight into to that B side, but the other 2 are just kind of so far away and waiting for that flank. But the flank's not coming.
And you got a lot of ultimates now for Onyx G as well that can pitch them into the 12th round, so it makes it more of a dangerous territory now than ever for Order to get back into this game, right? We haven't really seen too much from them after their stint of 4 rounds in the very beginning. It almost feels like the other 2, yeah, for sure, but for Onyx G, they've really found their footing in this map of Breeze, and it looks like aggression over towards the A side of things again for Order. A little bit of a contest from the Onyx G members, and Monyet is just going to feel confident right now, straight into Order. He's already pushed the Order members back, but Ronski, he wants a bit of a biff right now. The shots are starting to come on through, and the Cloudburst from Monyet is going to get him. There's now 3 members over towards this A side, and he has to fall back.
Coming out of Blades very, very quickly. Tunnel vision into position. Maple, though, makes quick work of NC Slasher. Ronski just has that 1 blade in the chamber to try and find a shot. They are rotating away, and potentially, hopefully, he can find something there accordingly. But that Viper's Pit already down on towards that site, put in by Severine. So it's going to be really, really challenging to make their way through accordingly. Maybe they'll spot that information and move accordingly, but because of that pit, because of that positioning, they've got that full lean over towards A, and it just makes it so challenging for Order.
And that our drone just spotted what is happening over in towards mid. Given by the fact that the trademark has just been destroyed, Order, they have to get into this B site and contest this pit very quickly, because if they allow Severine to stay alive, he can get them from behind, and the rest of the Onyx members can go over towards the Archers, or now in through mid by the fact that Texter has lost his life. The control that Onyx G are finding right now, they are essentially pulling the pants down on Order.
They literally have nothing. Like, it's Onyx G have been not only 1 step, 2 steps, potentially even 3 steps ahead of these all these rounds, like constantly catching Order from the back, from the behind. Like, you know, Order are overthinking themselves. They're trying to get themselves into quote-unquote flank positions. Maybe we'll be able to get through somewhere. And then, you know, simply as that round from Severin, absolutely perfectly slotting through his Viper's Pit, getting the info. There's Monyet to drop Ronski. Now it's all onto RDW. He's going to have to pull off the unbelievable here. We're 1v4, and they are starting to look. There is a tap onto the defuse. They look the other way. There's going to be RDW doing some damage. But Elmi Moore can find him, and that's going to be map point here for Onyx G. They have been explosive.
Yep, just essentially all the individual jewels that Onyx were finding themselves in there. The Order members weren't even really looking at them, right?
Other way.
Yep, so it really assists the way they're able to find that. And that's the ultimate territory I was talking about as well, right? The fact that Viper's Pit does get used over toward the B side means that it is so much more difficult for a team like Order to be able to clear it. They don't have too much utility to be able to use over at B, because when that pick goes down, they're already structured over toward the A site for their initial engagements anyway. But things just go a little bit more awkward. They lose the opening picks, they lose the information. Onyx G are starting to really build this repertoire of info around the map, and then it's just really easy to close it from there. So for 6 rounds in a row, that is the task for Order right now to get us in towards overtime. And it looks like a quick one to beat.
Yeah, it's going to be. So this could be a very, very fast end or a continued game here. Monyet pushing through, but punished. It's going to be Ronski to get that opener, but a great response here from NC Slasher. Look at him going everywhere, running around, ring around the rosy from NC Slasher. Severin and Shiro, though, pick it up, triple S, and that's what the game is looking like right now. A triple S performance from Onyx G. And it's Disco, the man who I was saying his name so many times early in this series, a 3K to clinch the classic round. But unfortunately, the Tour de Force, unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Maybe a cyclist in a former life, but this time he might be crashing and burning into the round as they lock down everything here, Onyx G.
All it's going to take is one member of Onyx to find his position, and you've got so many different angles that you can go together as a team for these double swings. And now Disco is getting into the line of sight of Shiro, finds him, but no, actually, Severin peeks out there as well to find it. So it is Onyx G stealing their map pick, their opponent's map pick rather, of Orders. Their 13-6 Breeze. Onyx G going into their map next. Order have some work to do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The only thing that I can kind of say, it felt very, very lackluster in that sense, right? The series felt a little bit flat towards the end.
Onyx map satunya.
So far ahead, they looked like so much better. It was a much higher sort of ranked position or anything like that. That's where it felt. You know, Order were not really up to the task for a lot of that. They had some fantastic positions, but that's exactly where we
saw map 2, gua bakal coba buka map dulu deh.
What are you so concerned about? You know, trying to make these outplays or repositions, and Onyx G were just able to do it. They
mind the range.
Absolute perfection, and that's why we do see Onyx G winning out this opening map. And around the corner, they do have another, but we'll be back shortly after this break.
Oke, bentar lagi. Gua santai aja sih. Karena FPS-nya drop juga sih kebetulan. Jadi tidak sempat.
When we take a look at standout performers, one name rises above the rest here for Onyx G.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, what was quite interesting was Severin actually just really stepping up on the Viper. You're expecting it to be Money T. It just wasn't. Oh, Munya, sorry. I realize I'm very bad at names. but Munya really.
Munya is looking like money, right?
Yeah, exactly. Apparently so. Boasting at 1.7 KDA, he really played well. And I think once he started opening up, once he started matching Ardu, Severin was able to sort of just capitalize. Just the entire team of Onyx stepped up as one, which is really cool.
So looking at the scoreboard and everything, I see RDW on that KO. It's one of the recent switches that Order have kind of done. They used to play him on the chamber, now it's kind of been switched around by Disco. Yeah, RDW had a wise performance, but he used to play on the chamber and you kind of relied on him to do the heavy lifting there.
Right.
And this time around, Disco on that defense fell flat really, and this composition really relies on him as well, right? Because you expect them to get those early kills. You expect them to kind of at least, even if the site is taken, they at least will have a numbers advantage on that retake, and that's kind of their winning case scenario. And they never had it.
No, they did not. For a second there, though, again, one of the storylines that we were setting up for the day was Wronski. Will we see a sighting of Wronski in the first half in those first couple of rounds? He was the one leading the way for the squad, but then, as you saw there, ends up lower on the scoreboard and not as impactful. So, yes, the strategy is to allow the chamber to come clean up, but Wronski on the jet needs to have more impact. Where is the causation and the correlation here?
My worry is that Onyx G, they are a fast-paced team, you know, kind of young guns, really aggressive play style, and what that means is momentum ends up having a serious toll on both teams. For Wronski, he was a player who relies on momentum anyway. That's now been completely thwarted, and with such a fast that map was done in like 20 minutes.
Very fast.
That was an absolute decimation on Onyx, on Onyx's behalf, and so I can't help but think that for Order, unless they're starting to use their timeouts a lot more frequently, trying to set themselves up on our next map is going to be really difficult.
All right, perfect segue here. Great job, Kremer. Let's take a look at our map picks here. Bind and Split were taken out. We just saw an easy, breezy victory here by Onyx on Breeze, which was Order's pick. Order's pick. And now we go to Onyx side on Ascent. This is
it's looking even scarier.
Yeah.
And I love the point Kremer made about sort of aggression forcing their opponents' hand order whenever really feeling comfortable. And I think this is a map in particular that they will never feel comfortable against Onyx due to the fact that they are just so fast-paced. If you look at the first 20 seconds of every single round, you can see, if you had to see a heat map, you'd see a vast plethora of players instantly in the site. Like, it's a very rare phenomenon. They'll actually play it slow and kind of taking it back. But for Order to kind of come and face up against this, it seems like they're going to have to come up with brand new plays, and to come out with something up against a team that is so forcing, it's ever so difficult.
Right. Again, easier to be the one asking a ton of questions than the one trying to solve each problem. And if you never get the momentum back to be the one asking the questions by being the proactive squad, you're always going to be on the back foot, and to come up with something on the fly, going to be very difficult.
It definitely is going to be very difficult, and that's exactly why I think Order in this point are in a very in a deep kerfuffle, if you will. But I think there is still room and some hope for them that they're able to bounce back. Yes, it's off of the back of a very difficult victory, but I think they've got a bit of a time to kind of reset, focus, and put their efforts in trying to have a very strong attacking side, because if they start strong with their own tempo and show their opponents that they're not ones to be messed with, then there is a slight chance that they have a better hand.
RDW, MVP of the last game on the Order side. We've already highlighted Wrongski. Kremer, who else needs to step up from this Order side?
Honestly, I really want to see Maple kind of have a bit more presence on the Sova. He was sort of the one who was set up everyone when Order are on form. Right now, a lot of his setups just aren't working.
I'd say Disco. Disco, 100%,
yeah.
Right? Especially on that influential chamber role. You need him to step up. Without him, it kind of feels like Order are flat.
I agree with that one. Disco, he had a lot of standout moments in their previous series. Will he be able to do it again? Let's find out as we send it on over to the casters. Mitchell Dion.
Listen, guys, I'm huffing the copium right now. That's all I really sort of need to go for at this point in time, because unfortunately, yeah, Order have been a little bit lacking at this point in time, right? And they really need to fire up on all cylinders. Stop questioning themselves. Lean into that confidence, because that's the second where the wheels fall off. Usually they crash and burn. And Onyx G have just been so good.
I kind of wonder as well, going into this next map here, if we're going to see a rechange of roles, right? Because we did just see in that one RDW and Disco's roles. Usually they play the other side, right? You'd have RDW running chamber and Disco running over on toward that KO, but they switched it for this one. So I wonder, coming in towards Ascent, you know, are we going to see something new again? Are we, even before that, are we going to see a agent lineup that we've actually seen before from these boys? Because they like to run new ones, kind of what feels very often.
Yeah. They sort of have always been doing that. Like, even if we run it all the way back to when, you know, Tux and Texter were playing the Duelist, right? We used to see Texter on the Phoenix, Tux on the Jet, and then obviously they've undergone so much change. We saw obviously, you know, Autumn come in for that little piece of time, and, you know, there's definitely been changes around. So Wronski back onto the Jet here, Maple onto the Fade, which we know is strong, and Disco going to that Raze. So they are sort of trying to stick in as much as possible as they can here. Onyx G, again though, this is their confidence sort of pick, right? You know, Ascent, obviously there was a win for Order yesterday, trying to take that A and B main control, but overall I think if Onyx were watching that map yesterday, right, they already know all the tricks and tricks of the trade for Order.
Well, that's the one, but I'm kind of feeling toward it. Did Maple lock in the Fade coming in toward this one?
He
did indeed. So this is looking, you know, kind of very similar over towards Order's side of things, but a little bit of a change given by the fact that Wronski's actually gone back to the Jet here.
So what are we seeing? NC Slash up. Classic on that Astra, and of course, you know, making sure we do see those KOs come back to regularity much more. And, you know, Elmi Moore had a really big run on that chamber in the previous map. Will we see it again? But all of it is going to really sort of run down to that pistol round and seeing what strengths can come through. Wronski in a very aggressive position, will have the tailwind yet to be popped. The Nebula will go down, and they've given that info. They've already actually looked for the fight to try and get in here. Paranoia is great, and that will give him a little bit more space, but this is so much utility being used by Order already, and it's going to be Elmi Moore to find Wronski through the bloody wall, mate.
Yep, first death in the round, into the map of Ascent right now, and everything is starting to lean over towards the A site for Onyx G. RDW is going to have a bit of a peek and looking for the second. It's going to be denied. Now it is only down to Texter, able to, well, not dodge out the blade, but he will be able to find a frag in the piece. A dink on toward him as well, but that the damage, it's all coming towards him. I was going to say the Prowler looked like it was chasing him, but it actually went behind him. And now the rest of his team are here to assist Order. They're starting to really firmly get a grip on how this pistol round is now coming to an end. And it will come to an end with Texter.
Texter had a big round in the previous where there was that 3K sort of locking down the site solo, doing a lot, right? And I remember back to the previous map against Fancy United yesterday, holding it all down from that A main position on the Omen. And again, the leader, he has so much on his mind, and to be able to kind of set that focus, and, you know, his experience comes from a very level-headed position, right? That's why he's been the leader. He's always very motivated. So to be able to see him step up when the team needs him is perfect. But of course, as we said, Onyx G, they're the team with the momentum right now. They're the team that are looking the hottest of what we've seen in the series already. Are they going to be able to strike back here into this second? They picked up some Sheriffs, so their money actually might not be the best into this third.
I was going to say, I always love that play. The C's comboed with the paint shells, but Elmi Moore rendezvous out, and he's even rewarded with finding the first opener on towards Maple, which means you have to have a lean if you are Order right now. They're covering as many bases as they can across the map, but this is still that half-biter coming from Onyx G. If Elmi Moore finds another pick right now, this round could be stolen away by Onyx G.
Yeah, the distance with those Sheriffs, like putting it up really really nicely. You know, Severin's now got the Spectre, and Monyet's going to be walking straight up short. So not really a whole lot of space being taken by Order. They have to go their backs up against the wall. It's only really Ronski with that lean on the Marshall from the market now, spotting back towards Pizza. So he's just going to sit and lay pretty until he does get the call for the rotation. Actually back towards A. So maybe Texter's got a little bit of a read here. Potentially heard Monyet, who's up short.
And Elmi Moore left to gallivant around the B main area as well. But Texter's very firm on this line. A pixel peek when he sees something, but if he gets flashed on through, it could get a little bit awkward. And Monyet's already there. The paranoia out will force him away. And remember, he does have RDW here to assist him, but he's trying to take the challenge, trying to take the fight by himself. And Onyx G, now they've found that opener over towards the B side, so they've already peeled away towards this side. They're going to get a plan. And they've got a number advantage for the post.
Well, I'm not going to say is like Elmi Moore is just so good, so sharp. Like to be able to get those fine lines, utilizing the ADS of the Headhunter. He's found 2 picks basically for free. That was a position where there was almost no time left completely.
Oh, wow.
That's a third. Like, are you joking? There's potentially a fourth, but Shiro takes it off of his hands. Did get the dink. RDW with the trade down. Texter has made his way into the site, but he's completely wrapped in. Must be feeling the stranglehold here. Now it's so awkward, so many angles to watch, and they're just walking straight down. NC Slasher a little bit shaky, but it's Severin. And Elmi Moore, take a bow, my friend, because you're looking hot in that suit right now.
So apparently it's anything you can do, we can do better in this one right now.
Absolutely.
It's a flip out from what we saw in the opening of Breeze, this time going into the way of Onyx G. And Elmi Moore, I mean, is exactly as you say, right? Very, very quick to find those frags with the Headhunter and even the Sheriff in close proximity. Order, they have a little bit of a discussion to have now to make sure that they are covering a lot of bases, to make sure that they're not losing these opening duels.
3 1v1s is basically where Elmi Moore managed to make that start, right? The peek into B main, and then obviously getting the lurk and the rotation from Disco, who was trying to jump back over towards that A side. The round wasn't done, and they were already trying to make too many decisions, so they've completely changed it up here right now, straight in towards Tiles, and now there has been some damage done. Monyet, Severin, NC Slasher all opening up, and it should be Monyet to find something else, but it's going to be RDW at least for one.
Yep.
But that's a very quick punishing round here for Onyx G. They just smack through.
Yeah.
And even though they've been denied entry, they took it.
Yeah, lesser weaponry as well for Order, and the fact that the pain shells kind of hurt old mate that just ran in toward the tiles too. So look, it is what it is. It's a play to come out from Order. It didn't go away. They've got the guns now in towards this new round and all of that utility that they could possibly want. But I am seeing territory of Ultimate starting to just be around the corner. Elmi Moore, Severin over on the side of Onyx G, one away from the Tour de Force and the Null Command each, which if Elmi Moore is hitting all these shots that we have been seeing him hit, he could do it even quicker with the Tour de Force. So I really do wonder how far forward Onyx G are going to be able to go on this attacker side. Now in this new round, they've already got complete control of B main.
Running that setup, very, very similar towards the A site, will be Order. The double up of RDW and Texter here. The Haunt will go over the top to spot some info, but again, Elmi Moore, he actually should be fine here. That's very, very big here.
That's cheeky.
That might sort of prompt them to actually move into position accordingly. Look at the rotation already starting to head out. RDW does shoulder his way in. Now the fragment goes down, but he's been seized. He's been held, and that's going to make it really, really awkward as this decay does continue to go down. The dark cover will at least allow him some solace for now, but they're already starting to pull away. Great position from Elmi Moore, and he spots, he finds Maple. Elmi Moore, this guy is an absolute demon to this team. They just cannot get him. It's like swatting away a fly that just won't give up at this point in time. And now he's crept straight through on towards the site, already all of this control, and he might even find another. He's happy to drop into these nebulas here, Komodo, and he even might just find this extra pick. No, Ronski, maybe too far for Elmi Moore because they haven't got the spike through the site yet.
Severin's trying to sell somewhat of a fake over towards A, ripping the Null Command by himself. But look at this. Texter's already behind him right now. He just needs to inch on. There's some discipline, but he's found the frag, and with 20 seconds, he'll hear the footsteps of the rest of the Onyx G squadron coming over towards the tree room and trying to push on through. They have to contend with Texter. How much of a duel does he actually want to fight by himself here is the real question. 3 hostiles detected on that blade. Texter falls, but the denial of the spike. RDW, a beautiful transfer, and Ronski's there for the closure.
There it is. Team dynamic as a unit. They go together. They push through the dark covers as a team, and the call has clearly been concise and perfect. They had 10 seconds left on that plant to get the spike down, and unfortunately they could not quite find it. But again, Komodo, it's Texter to make those 1% plays, the position that he was able to take. He's just so far ahead of the game.
Oh, certainly does get electric inside the server and out the side the server, doesn't it? A round that Order were desperately wanting. And one of those things that I was kind of talking about as well, right, was the null command that was ripped by Severine there. There wasn't any other assistive utility that was really thrown in. So Order already hearing some footsteps around the B main location. They kind of already knew where Onyx G was sort of leaning towards in that round, but you still can't take just that information away, right? The round still has to be finished by those kills, and that's exactly what RDW and Ronski were able to do in the end.
Well, again, it continues to be that massive problem where it's Elmi Moore who has just been able to completely rip apart so much that Order have been throwing. It's just the one thing, and they play all around of his control, right? You know, he's got the rendezvous that he can pop out if he needs. He gets his trademark placed down on that flank, and he can just keep his eyes set on B main. And the second they know they're seeing Order pull away with that information, the second Maple threw that haunt down, that could have been the call to immediately come out from Elmi Moore, right? He can just say, boys, relax, I've got this. And then that's where they start to do it. So Tex, that was him that made that 1% play, took the further info, because I believe he walked up short potentially there to be able to wrap around, find the flank, and then basically save RDW's life for long enough to get them back into the round. So 2-2, still plenty more Valorant ahead of us right now. And yeah, look, Onyx G have got a decent enough buy to sort of fight the fight back.
First couple of seconds in the round, both teams exercising the use of their 0 point, the haunt as well to come out from Maple. So I have to wait a bit for them to come on back, but already Onyx G pushing down to the depths of mid. Ronski and Pizza is something that's going to be very interesting, as he does have his teammate in Disco next to him over in the marker, but a very slower paced round start for Onyx G. And Ronski feels like he wants to be able to take a duel with the rest of his utility. The Paranoia, he spotted out exactly where Monyet is playing from as well. Maybe not. Shiro and Severine starting to get some action back, however. And now it's all the vulnerability for RDW. Stuck in the seas. Destruction of the Haunt. And now he finds one. A second as well. Going a little bit ham in this round, but NC Slasher will cut him to size. And look at this spot from Severine to line them both up to close out the rounds. Onyx G take back the lead.
Too damn hungry, Ronski. Peeking out, getting one. Wants that second, wants that highlight moment, and he gets punished. Severine says no, smacks him once on the cheek, and then the back on the other, and closes it out with the 3K. The position is just so well. Like, Onyx G feel like an immovable object. They know exactly what Order's throwing at them. They're not the ones who are playing reactive by any means. You know, they're just relaxing and waiting for him to kind of like play out a script in their head, right? They know exactly how Order are doing it, and every single time they've just been prepared for it. So another massive round from Severine, who has just been impact round after impact round, whilst Monyet's still been quiet, right?
Yeah.
They haven't had to rely on him at all yet.
And just while we've got these pistol round coming through from Order, it was one of the big tells against the game of Fancy United yesterday too, where if there's 40, 30, 20 seconds left, Order want to do something. They want to push, they want to get some information. That's kind of what happened in the previous round for Ronski, right? He wanted some information, wanted to go for a bit of a duel early on, and was taken out. So real unfortunate now with these pistols.
Oh no, Disco!
How has he killed himself with his paint shots?
I don't know, but he's dropped the spike at least. It's going to be a quick turnaround though, but that's basically starting to paint a pretty bloody picture about what's going on in Camp Order right now. It's scrappy, it's ugly, and it's certainly not going the way it should really be for these guys. Like, you can tell they're not all on the same page, and this is exactly what we mean, right? They're a team that can feel quite manic when they're all firing, they're all well drilled, and it is something that definitely has, you know, plagued Oceanic Valorant for quite some time. Order being so far ahead of the rest of the curve of so many of these other teams, never really feeling the pressure, right? So when the pressure does come, when they end up versing some of these top tier teams, you know, Onyx, what, second seed near the LCQ, it's certainly a fierce beast to be fighting in the second round of the competition, even after taking out maybe a little bit of a weaker looking Fancy United yesterday.
Well,
still plenty of Valorant though to go. I've got to just double down on that, right?
Order coming in with the guns in this round yet again. Odin's for both sides. Maple holding one over at the B site. Nelmy Moore dancing around with his own as well, looking for the reversal wallbang through B main. But again, Onyx very happy to play passive in the early stages here, get a little bit of this mid control. They can peel back over towards A if they do want to. They know from all the history that it's Texter and RDW looking to be the ones to lock down the lines, which means they'll be aware of the fact that the flashes will be there. So setting themselves up will be really, really cool for it. A bit of a wine clear. Make sure that Texter isn't down there. And in a couple of seconds, we're expecting Onyx G to just completely run in towards the A site.
Yep, same sort of story as well, though this time they've been spotted. Looking to get that A main control, but they've happily fallen away. Shiro looks like he's ready to get the Prowler to be sent out up towards short, gets the info. RDW held, but he does manage to pop the null command, the fragment again. Doesn't have the null command available.
30 seconds. Still going over towards the A side here are Onyx G, and they've spotted out exactly where Texter is playing. Still somehow manages to find the one, and RDW is falling back. Are they sold yet on the fact that it is A? Now they know. RDW lining them up again. Another multi-frag for the man, but this spike plant has to go down, and Monyet, he is wanting to go for a fight early, potentially. Goes for a little bit of a spotter, but has to get that plant down, and he has to rely on Elmi Moore to essentially maybe bail him out a little bit earlier. The Haunt to be destroyed. All the Order members coming in from the heavens, but will they be taken down to hell? 6 feet under. Monyet for the three. He brings out the blades, but Disco gets him in the end, and it will be a bit of a recovery here for Order.
To hurt everyone at home, I was almost kind of hoping that Monyet had a pop-off moment just there, only purely on the fact that they didn't clear him, right?
Yeah.
They left him in that corner for so long, but we do see Order move as a unit. All 4 members barreling out heaven. It would have been so hard for Monyet to trade all of those members right there, but again, it's RDW doing the heavy lifting, being the strong man in the KO that they do desperately need. He has been, well, I guess, like the iconic player through both of these series so far, and whilst again, they're not getting eliminated here, they've still got more chance to actually push through this series, but they need to awaken more. It can't just be RDW, and Maple has just been struggling again.
Well, that's it, right? RDW yesterday, the man at the top, the almost leader in charge, but you've also got Texter just behind him, bringing out the brains, making sure the team can do what they can. Still a similar story right now, and as you say, a big old B hit to come through for Onyx G, but Ronski is actually going to be dropping Severine. A resurrection could come out onto him through the null command of the KO, but Monyet's space, he's gotten behind Texter. He's not going to be able to cut Disco down for size, but all of these trades, Disco's managing to hold down the fort, and with that, Onyx G are falling away.
Yeah, Disco's done fantastically here. It's going to be at least something for them to hold on to now. 3 versus 3, but look at this position from NC Slasher. They have to be so careful. They're walking, they're creeping, but are they going to clear the line? RDW! I feel like he's a little bit lucky there. NC Slasher wasn't quite with the crosshair placement, but they get enough done. Now a 3 versus 2, door to be closed, and all they've got to do, exactly the same as that previous round, take the time. Severine has got the right click ready, but Shiro opens up with one, and no, Disco caught just all on his lonesome basically here, and now the underarm flash does come out from RDW. They're both lined up. He spots one. He has to spot the other. Another flash drive to go out, but they swing, they clear, and Severine will rip off the head of RDW. That is another round closed here for Onyx G, and they just continue to throw punches that Order cannot defend from.
Definitely feels like another one of those moments where Ronski wants to try and be the superstar in that round, right? Over on Heaven, he peaks a little bit earlier than the rest of his team can. RDW wasn't into the tree just yet to try and assist from another angle, so really unfortunate in that merit, but you've got to give props to Onyx G. The 2 versus 3 are able to pop up with a very, very rapid plan before the spike even goes down to eliminate Order coming from those heavens, and you mentioned it again, right? Maple, the Des mentioned it too, having a real underperformance. It's even more so here.
It just can't be happening, right? You know, Maple 0-7, and we're seeing, look, can't overly criticize Disco. He had some attempts, but you know, that solo kill that he had on himself with the tank shells, and also Ronski 3-7, you know, just not putting up that impact that we desperately need to see. This is a round again, kind of throw it out to the side. It's just the Sheriffs, it's just the pistols. But yeah, they just seem to be shaken and unfortunately not stirred in this round. Monyet should have plenty. They've not even cleared him. Completely blinded, and he gets it done. Elmi Moore. Ronski will be found by Shiro in the end there as well. So Onyx G, at the very least, they find 6, a very humble position to be found in on the attacker's side of Ascent here. As again, Order cannot get the engine revving. They've been pulling that streak for quite some time, and it's just not working. Yeah, and they're running out of fuel as well for this one. They need to get a little bit of a refill over at that station, and for right now, the station is many, many, many moons away. Not even miles. We're on another planet right now, it almost feels like. So something's got to get started for Order to get back into this one, because again, very, very reminiscent of what was happening on Breeze, right? There was a bit of a start for Order to come on through, but as soon as Onyx G realized what Order was running with, they just completely were able to account for almost every single situation. Yeah, again, a super important round here. There has been a fair bit of decay, chip damage onto Monyet here off the back of that utility from Maple. Tagged up, Ronski this time on a line, and he's out. Okay, one and done, he says. Does have a bit further of a spot, and as a response, you know, Elmi Moore, this is the level of confidence they've got now. Good response from Ronski, but a little bit lucky. Straight through that nebula, he's able to equalize and bring it back to an advantage going the way of Order. It's a rare chance that we've seen, a glimpse at Order having an advantage, and it's not going to go the other way just yet. Ronski with 3, setting himself up for the trophy in this round, but will he be too hungry for the ace? Disco is going to be the one
Who's going to be the next challenge over in the tree? He's wanting to be fallen on back. Maple, is he going to be able to find his first frag in this game? He's got a one-on-one against Shiro. The Nightfall is out. Ronski's got the 4K, and Maple for the swing, finally on the board. And it's a big one to come back for Order.
The Ronski effect. It's finally occurred back this time. 4K to get the ace stolen, but that's confidence building for the man and Maple on the board. We are able to see just in that one round combined that maybe there is some additional signs of life, right? We know that Order do have a strong attacking side here and there, but again, Onyx, they're just going to use that timeout, discuss what's happened in that previous, because that one looked much better. Ronski this time as well. He got a pick, fell back, repositioned, another pick. Second, again, a little bit lucky, but at least now we're finally seeing him do the damage that we know he can. And the only thing is, I guess, Maple did have to burn the Nightfall for that frag. Irrespective, though, they've got what they needed in that round.
Yeah, exactly so, and it's not a bad idea to call your first half timeout now for Onyx G either as well, right? Get a little bit of a settle down for yourself. Not maybe so much as to, you know, reinvigorate yourself as a team for Onyx G, but to slow Order down, because such a momentum-based team that we keep talking about time and time again, you get a round like that, everybody's hyped up. A pause can generally simmer that down a little bit, and maybe it puts a bit more silence on towards Ronski here. So we'll have to wait and see if that is going to turn out. But for Onyx G, you know, they've already kind of gotten what they needed in the first half, right? Anything here from now out in these next two rounds is extra change.
We can kind of run back and, you know, use a little bit of time whilst we got it to play out that storyline, right? You know, Onyx G, a very young team in its own right with a lot of fresh talent that is really trying to step up into the world of Valorant and show themselves. And again, that argument, the top three in Indonesia are also close. Like, who's the best, right? Onyx G are the top seeded, but it's the exact same thing to be said for players like RDW, like old mate Ronski, and that's where we're seeing him. We're seeing him get confident, bring the force back, and he is straight over the top and straight out. No second frag, no highlight reel, mate. Build your own.
It almost looked like he was blinded there as well before the frag come through, but he got a glimpse of Shiro before he was able to find the frag. And now again, Order, they have the opening kill.
Good position to be in. Time to let it simmer, and this is where Onyx G are starting to question themselves a little bit more now, right? Order's not trying to kind of push their way down to force another fight or anything along those lines. There is some information off the back of that Prowler into main, which they're doing it right again, but they're so close. Up on the line with Texter, he almost had the shot, but there's Ronski again. Only one though, Elmi Moore gets that trade, rendezvous straight out, but the paint shells were perfect. Disco did well to at least force Monyet back for now as they set up towards A.
Texter's lost that line a couple of times now, pushing deep in towards short after Order have been finding these picks, and for Onyx G, they always pick that angle in tandem. They always make sure they've got a buddy for the trade, but they've pretty much been winning that duel without losing a member, right? So now in this 3 versus 3, it's a creep in towards this A side RDW. He's done it from here before. He needs to make sure it's a bit of a wider swing or the fallback for the retake. His teammates are not here, and Onyx G do have the site now.
They're heading up short, but they've closed the door, and that's what's going to make it awkward. So RDW has to be very, very careful to wait out for the rest of his team. The Haunt goes over the top as well. That's going to be punished. There's a lot of awkwardness here. Elmi Moore, though, finds RDW. That's a fantastic response, and he's got the line, but now they're setting the focus. They reposition accordingly, but it's going to have to be onto the big man in Disco. The Nebula is going to bite the space, and he spots the line, and NC Slasher can get the job done again. Onyx, they will confirm the half and continue again to just push more pressure down onto Order. I feel like Texter, just losing that final short made it so awkward to hold A.
A lot of pivotal positions that Order want to make sure they've got some control of, but a lot of these times they've been already taken out on those spots before, and they're just trying to do the same thing, right? It's the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Sometimes, yes, in an FPS shooter, it happens, right? You get a different result. But for Texter here, taken out again at short, another avenue that Onyx G can waltz in towards the A site, and they overwhelm it and they win it out in the end. So coming into the last round of this half here now, Onyx G falling back on the laurels, doing what they like to do most. It's grouping around this B side, but this is a little bit different from Order. Ronski deep in towards B main with a friend, and he finds the opener.
Yeah, they used a lot to try and find this fight. Now they're going to be battling it back here. The Nightfall goes in, Ronski goes down, and that's what it is all about. Are they going to be able to continue, though, this defense at the same time? Because it looks like the brakes have absolutely been parked. Now Monyet looks to jump over the top. No, not quite. He's been pulled away.
And with all this as well, Texter's gotten into Wine and got a little bit of a peek out in towards A main. So the information for Order right now is that nobody was home. Everyone's contained over towards B main, or maybe potentially over in through towards mid. You got a spot out from Disco there, and this is where things do reset. Back over towards the A side has been a very common place for Onyx G.
Still locked in. We've seen this setup work so well for Order yesterday against Fancy United.
They don't have the KO dart to clear
exactly,
line.
That's the big thing. It's going to make it awkward, isn't it? But look at Elmi Moore's positioning at the exact same time. They have to walk in. They've got to be ready for this right now. Is the peak going to come in? Will Monyet be ready? Not quite. RDW going to rip the head off. Maple punishes Elmi Moore, and there's finally an opportunity for Order to really lock down a round, but they've got to be cautious. 4v2. Are they going to be able to do it? We have seen the null command get popped by RDW here, so they are going to be barreling straight through that nebula here. Both members inside main, one inside heaven in Disco. 12 seconds, not much left, and RDW to close. That is a perfect way to give Order some life.
Yep, they didn't.
This next half.
They didn't fall over their own feet there as well. They didn't give an opportunity for Onyx G to get back in toward that round. Some nice timing for RDW with that sheriff shot, over towards main on towards Monyet. But yeah, really in those last sort of couple of rounds, Order, they got a bit of a wriggle. They got some early picks and they didn't overstep. That's the biggest thing. We see a lot Order go too far sometimes.
We made a couple of mentions, right? You know, Maple was really struggling, 0 and 8 at one point. He's got a couple of frags back in. He's had to use that utility well, and he has started to improve on it quite dramatically. And then the Ronski item, right? I'm pretty sure he was like 1 and 7 at some point or something along those lines. Maybe 3 and 7, confusing it a little bit. But what we got to see in those last couple of rounds, instead of him just sort of throwing himself at the enemy team, there was a couple of moments, but we did see that one pick out, reposition, another pick, straight back. Kind of being pulled a little bit around in the way that he needs to play, instead of potentially getting tossed in away too early to the mix and, you know, going down after 2 and the team losing out of 3v4 or something like that. So irrespective, once they sort of got a bit of a wriggle on and worked out maybe that short was a bit of an issue, they sort of readopted that A main control between RDW and Tex, and that's what won them the final round. But Onyx, again, you've got to absolutely tip your caps. They are such a well-drilled team. Everyone's on the same page. And look, trying to be the pride of Indonesia, they're putting up a pretty good case for it right now.
Yep, taking the lead at the half, going over to usually what people would say is the better side on the defensive side for Onyx. So Order a little bit more of a way to go now on their attackers' side. And you look towards the rounds that they've been able to get in the whole history of Ascent. Order a 66% defensive-sided win rate. And they are trailing here in this map right now. So already it puts Onyx G just a little bit further forward on those statistic marks. But this is where things are going to be really big, right? The pistol rounds for Order have been a little bit hit and miss towards this series right now, and the subsequent rounds with those thrifties coming back, if you remember how the half first started here on Ascent. But for now, bit of a quick how do you do over towards A main for Order.
Very, very fast. Looking to get straight into there. The gravity well does hold them a little bit, but there is a very good, solid force back by that Haunt too. There'll be more on the line. He's missed a couple of shots though. This time, very important. Ronski gets the trade out. This time, Disco straight into the site. We talked about him being a little bit more quiet, but Shiro's got a number for him as well. They're so low. That's the big thing here, Komodo. Disco gets another though, and here's those confident picks we're looking for. Door will be closed by RDW, but the peak from Shiro. That's the spike dropped as well, Komodo. The communications we've seen so many rounds where Order have irrespectively not known who's picking up that spike, and the shots, the damage, they've not yet. He is through, he is damaged, and he is taken by the man in Disco himself, who is certainly boogieing down on the D floor in that round.
Mate, we're pulling the players down to size with all these frags that are coming around, and I think I need a little bit of a breath of fresh air after what has just happened in that round. Everybody's shooting every which way. Duels are being fought aggressively through the door, the peak, just as the door's coming down to try and upset the balance. But for Order, the trades were there very quickly in that pistol round as well. And they're not trying to slow it down when they realize in the 2 versus 1 that they've got an advantage on towards Monyet. He was tagged up a little bit, a dashing toward his own cloud burst, and that really makes the narrow window of where you have to start shooting at him to find him, right? So Order gathering the pistol round makes things a bit better for them. They can look to close it up and tie it up at the 7-7 piece if they're able to convert this round.
Exactly right. Second pistol, right? They picked up here, but they lost out that second round, and damage has been dealt by Monyet this time round. However, Ronski's hungry, he's happy, up over the top, and Maple will hold it. Very nicely done there. So it should be a 5 alive position, unless we do see Elmi Moore do something disgusting. Damage is all he can hope for, but he's lost a couple of bullets in that chamber. And, that
Team
was
flash.
a very bad flash. RDW bad boy.
Look, it's only one frag going the way of Onyx G in that round. It's fine. Ronski can maybe get an upgrade to a Vandal and be able to test them in the next round when we've got the guns to come through from Onyx G. And it is a very ambitious purchase to come through for the Odin here in Shiro.
All I'm thinking about that team flash is Ronski's catching up to RDW on the frags now. It's like, no, I'm top fragging this game, okay? But
well,
look, it all happens. Still very, very well done. You know, again, I just didn't want to see any more calls for concern that Order were going to kind of just give themselves up on a silver platter to Onyx G, because what we've seen at least now, Komodo, is a 7-7 scoreline. It is not going to be that same experience as what we got on Breeze, which was the 13-6 victory for Onyx G.
Yeah, you've got to remember as well, a 6-6 tied scoreline at the half on the attacking side for Order against Fancy United, but they want to get this closed over a little bit quicker, it would seem, specifically into this A site where they are rampaging in toward it right now, but Monyet, he's dancing with the dice and he's rolling his number, the tailwind to escape, but it's into the crosshair of RDW. And now in the 2 versus 2, Shiro is still here with that Odin. He can purr the bullets out to try and find the frag, but that glass will be shattered by Texter. He's trying to find the frag. He's trying to be the instigator, but no, Shiro aware of the fact very, very quickly. Maybe RDW falling away, give up the goat, give up the information on what Texter was trying to do. But now, facing a 1 versus 2, this is risky.
Oh! That's the big bold brain play, right? Getting that information as quickly as you can into the attacker side at spawn, but defender rather. Now he's back into the boat shed, gets the info onto that swing. Seas goes down, will not quite catch. It's going to be really, really tough here in this 1v2 for RDW. Tap onto the defuse here, but they've just got to clear it. They've got to look absolutely everywhere here. He's got to make sure all his ducks are in a row, but it's again the man, the myth, the me more, who won't be taking any L's in this round.
I was wondering how readable of a position that was going to be for RDW, right? Going to the back of the site, where Onyx G are wise to the fact, right? They spread themselves out, they clear over towards the logs, they're making sure they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's before getting into the site themselves if RDW is lurking there. In a 1-to-1 trade, you're happy with that because you get the round. However, that was a pretty costly investment for Onyx G, right? The big gun round to come on through, the Odin has been taken out, Shiro's now playing with the Bulldog, Maple's picking up an Odin of his own. Onyx G, they do reclaim that lead here, but again, you know, with the gun rounds that keep presenting ourselves right now, it does come down to all that information that these teams have got a little bit earlier, right? Onyx G on that attacker side were very aggressive in the first couple of seconds of those rounds to get a little bit of control, or holding back outside of that B main location, and really toing and froing, pendulum them around the map.
Pause in, timeout to discuss again. Perfect opportunities for a mental reset, right? You know, you don't want to sort of throw too much of what you've got in those last couple of rounds out the door to be able to convert the pistol, convert the second, and then do so much damage to the Onyx G economy, right? Now what we look at, Bulldog, Spectre, they've really got nothing in the coffer at all to work with. Ronski's managed to establish the Blade Storm. Yeah, exactly. A good swing round again for Order to kind of get that catch back. You know, this will mean 8, then potentially 9 against an eco if they do find it. But Onyx G, the exact same thing, right? Order in the exact same financial predicament, didn't take out the loan at the right time, and now inflation's been hitting them. So they've got to be careful that they do not get rid of this. Ultimates are a big play. Do have the Nightfall, and not too far away from that null command.
Very early tactical timeout as well to come through from Order, right? Only 3 rounds really been played in this half, and that's already here. So I wonder if it's an early call for them to really get back in towards this one right now, if they feel like there was a mistake in that previous round that they could have won it, because there definitely were instances that they could have. And now this is very Order-esque with how Onyx G are actually playing over towards A main at the moment. You change up the agents, yeah, for sure. RDW, he'll have to be the one to find a multi-frag potentially, but you're exactly right. He's ready for this. If there's a flash, though, from the KO, it would be huge. There's the first one overlooking the second member, NC Slasher. Oh, he gets taken down to 76 points of HP. It could have been dire. And now Shiro is the next contest over in the marker, but he's looking to cut that check, print the receipt. It's only for 1, though.
Ronski's super low. Well, not really convinced with that position at all, but Maple does get the catch, does get the lurk, and now he's ready to send the Nightfall out. It's not going to quite clip Severine, though. Keep your eyes on this man right now. They haven't cleared him, they haven't looked, and he's stuck in the corner, but he will get that flash drive out. The paint shells will force him away. Very wise, very tact there from Disco. Now they should be able to find the site. The position is nigh, though. Up in heaven, Elmi Moore having a look. Great shot onto Disco. Now it's going to be onto Maple. Man hasn't been having the best of games, and unfortunately he cannot close, cannot clutch. We saw it a couple of times in the previous series yesterday, but it's Onic G taking the lead and absolutely breaking that economy down here for Order. They got nothing in the bank account.
Yeah, Disco and Maple, the 2 versus 2 versus Elmi Moore and Severine, but you don't really necessarily need Severine if Elmi Moore's going to just be ever so consistent with finding these frags. Very, very rapid to take your head off, specifically on that known dice angle, right? You got the plant going down over towards the default spot, and then it really is just the 1v1 for Elmi Moore, right? And percentages show that he is winning these more often than not in this series right now, even more. So another round over towards Onic G on the back of Order's timeout nonetheless, which means if they had a discussion directly for that next round, it didn't go their way.
And they bought again, so clearly they want to actually try and make this happen, right? They know that the money is still not absolutely fantastic. They're waiting for some utility to come out. Not spotted yet, which is huge. Now, here we're going to see that null command come out, this time from RDW. And are they going to be able to lock it down? There's NC Slasher, though, hasn't been spotted, and he will be able to drop it. Where are these two remaining members? Ronski, Texter clearing out, and Severine is in such an awkward spot. The Nightfall's going to catch them, and they've just completely left their boy in towards A-Long. There's nothing they can do. They're looking to jump into heaven, but Shiro's going to be there, and it's an absolute blunder coming out here for Order. Texter is going to have to do something insane here. 1 versus 4. He has picked up 1. He's got plenty of HP, but the flash drive goes through. Now he can look to reposition here, but I love the spot from NC Slash. He's gone straight into main, and Severine should not be too far away either. He is going to clear out the Jenny line, but look at this crossfire. It's beautiful. Onic G have each other's backs. They're the boys, they're the brothers, and they know how to close each other's out rounds together.
Double digits achieved for Onic G as well, a complete shutdown. Order, you know, a position that they see themselves in again comfortably is playing over towards Ryan, right? But maybe not feeling that anyone from Onic G is going to be playing there, not putting any utility to clear it. No fragment to come out from RDW after using his ultimate as well. No paint shells from Disco, no information over towards Wine, and it's just been spilled over them at the moment in that previous round. So as you mentioned, they did force it on through. They went for that buy, and here they're going for a more honest half purchase, and we've seen a play from Order with just like this. They run through mid, they try to get in towards tiles. It didn't work for Order, but for Onic G, it is working right now, looking to be a very quick shutdown of a round, and RDW, yeah, he's just trying to have fun with this one.
Complete and utter disrespect to come out from Onic G and around to basically kind of like put that spike into the coffin, right? You know, nailing it straight down. Onic G are telling them basically just through the gameplay itself that we are better than you here. We know that we are going to be a serious contender for the top of this competition, right? You think about the seeds that we've had come into it, what Bleed at the top, Onic G second, and just looking so strong as the rest of the competition does start to unfold. And look at the spread of the kills, right? Over to the other side, Texter, he was the impact man. He was playing so well, and you can't quite criticize always on frags, but it's just a clear disparity. You got 2 members doing something, the rest are all sort of falling behind, whereas on Onic G, they're doing absolutely everything. As Monyet over the top, straight through long, straight, and again, the knife in the back of Order.
Through the box, by the way. The little single box that's over in A main with the spikes there too.
Look, I'm just not surprised at this point. It's kind of like too much spaghetti in the pockets. They've tripped over. They're trying to put it back in, but it's just all over their hands right now. And like the series is kind of wiped away by the spaghetti.
Yeah, a bit of a masterclass on a couple of these last rounds for Onic G on how to play a defensive side against more often a team that likes to play very aggressive, right? Order, they do not shy away from a very early fight. We see it from Ronski in the first half where he got away with it a couple of times, but now maneuvering over into the later stages of the second half. Onic G, again, it feels like in the very beginning of these matches they're having a little bit of a wrestle, a bit of a tug of war to figure out how to play, but as soon as they figure out what to do, their feet are planted. They've got all the support they need to just get that final tug, and then it's just so simple from there on out.
It's just really clean, concise Valorant to come out from Onic G. You know, sure, Order aren't all on the same page. They're not all firing on all cylinders, you know, as the analysts showing themselves as the clear powerhouse here in this matchup right now. So we've got a setup. We've got a line just outside of A. Maple is going to be the one to start it, ready to throw that Nightfall in. And how is it going to look? Texter straight into heaven to try and sell some sort of a fake information, but he's actually sent himself elsewhere. And it's going to be Disco to pick up too. That is going to be the ultimate dropped in heaven. Ronski gets another. Severine's going to be dropped, and it's all onto Elmi Moore, who is a fair way away from home. And it's just going to be damage on the cards for him now. Game's not done just yet, Komodo.
Not just yet. Elmi Moore, the 1 versus 4, revealed by the 0 point as well. well, and the hunt is on for Order. They need to be holding on to these guns, though. They need to make sure they've got everything in the next round, and that they will. An 8th finally secured for them after quite a bit of time that they haven't had things going their way. A quicker piece over towards the A side. Bit of a, just overwhelming force to Onyx G, but I will remind you, a lot of the assistive factors in that round just then for Order were those ultimates. The Nightfall to completely disorient the Onyx boys, the TP from Texter over towards Heaven as well to get some extra information. They cannot rely upon that in this next round.
Another timeout. Good time to do it. Obviously only one more round required here for Onyx G, and I do like to see that both these teams have taken both those timeouts across the course of the series, right? It means that they are sort of trying to just at least set that focus, have that time to reset, and work out exactly what the opposing team is doing accordingly.
I like in the small little moment that I've been able to see in that replay as well that Disco was the one to drop the KO whilst Null commanded. So for Severine, down for the count and everything, but it was Disco, it was Ronski, and it was IDW trying to finish him off to get the kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Needing those frags to come back in because, that is the one role swap that we are sort of seeing right now, right? It appears that RDW is slotting into Disco's kind of things that he's been picking up. And, back in the day, again, as we were talking about, Disco used to be one of those players that was brought in alongside Autumn to be the decimator, to be the strength in the roster. But as of late, he has been more strong sort of on those Sentinels kind of things, like the Chamber now coming back.
Yeah, and of course this roster that we're seeing, this agent lineup for Onyx G was the one they used previously against Alter Ego, right? But this is a new rendition for Order. We've seen this same lineup if you change Ronski from Jet to Chamber.
Correct. Exactly right. Ronski, wants to have that comfort back onto the Jet. It's somewhere where he was always sort of looking his best. Definitely has a good game on Chamber, though, here and there. We've seen him look good on Fracture, but...
So, bit of a silent one for Order down through mid. Severine in what could be a one and done position as well. The Haunt in the window, going to be destroyed. Pulling out the flash drive and the Paranoid is perfect for Texter. Ronski to start to lead the charge, but is this go time in towards the market? This B split, it is such a crunch as well. There's nobody home on the site for Onyx G currently. They're all playing over towards the Defender spawn, RDW to NC Slasher, and this is the stuff we were missing from Order earlier.
Site taken. Elmi Moore does actually manage to pick up one as a response, but that's a long way from home, right? RDW into position. This is where we need to see Order lock in and make sure that they do not lose these picks individually. It's a 3v4. They have the advantage. And it looks like Onyx G are actually being relatively hesitant here. Komodo, Shiro only with that Odin, Elmi Moore, and Operator very hard to find that retake in as they do push into this site.
That's exactly right. And the only real assistive thing they've got is Shiro with that Seize. If he can get a couple of members with it, it would be big. But no reveal over towards B May. And the containment for Order, they need to hold everything in this one on toward the side. A good shot out from Maple to Elmi Moore, and that might just be the thing to send Onyx G packing in this one. Take the Odin as your prize, take the Phantom to the next round as well. You've still got a Blazestorm from Monyet. There will be a buy for Onyx G in the next round, but any damage they could do towards Order, it's not going to reset them just yet, but it might make the next couple of rounds a little bit easier to close out this match.
Absolutely, so only Monyet to live on. 3 members of Order will keep on kicking, and they've got enough money to buy for their boys in RDW and Texter, who were unfortunately going down. But look, I think RD did really well in this round to kind of keep some focus. It kept Elmi Moore back towards that A position, and Elmi Moore has been really sort of being that B lockdown, and he's been completely taken to the other side, and they kind of capitalized on that. I think Ronski had a fantastic position, the entry in to actually dodge around the Prowler to get into market before taking side accordingly, and that really just quickly freaked Onyx G out. They got straight back out. And now, I mean, look, I'm not going to say I'm a believer just yet, Komodo, because there's still 3 more rounds, but overtime would be absolutely spicy.
Well, I think for right now, I just don't want to see Onyx G latibulate in the corner, right? I don't want to see them go and hide away. I don't want to see them kind of be pressured too much by Order right now. And again, we are seeing Order slow things down. Over and towards mid, dark cover. We do have Elmi Moore hiding in toward it, and Monyet over at the short corner where Texter has been done quite a much time, but this time he's able to actually win it.
Got the opposition fight. An opener, an important one, but Elmi Moore is there again. The man, the consistent player who continues to do it. Rendezvous out, a quick snap of the fingers, because it looks like Disco is pretty keen to jump on in. I think that was to break the trademark, but it actually has missed. So still 2 members here, and it is going to be Omimore continuing to tap away with that one. Haunt goes out. They don't get the info though, but they're not aggressing just yet. They're still holding.
And Severine's here to assist Omimore as well, right? So they've got a little bit of an allotted crossfire if they do want, but this is the time for Order to go in toward the site. No Nightfall action. It's going to miss them, but it's all a ruse. It's all a fake. The short play is actually the thing happening right now. NC Slasher is going to be the first point of contact with RDW with the spike in Texter's arms. He's going over there. There's 20 seconds to go.
They've got to make a decision right now. Like, what's going on? They're walking in solo. Like, what is this? Where's the call? Where was the comms? Game's done. Like, game's lost. There's nothing they can do here at all.
Disco's way too far from the action. The spike's on the other side of the map. It doesn't even matter if he won that duel against Severine there. It is done. 13-9 over towards Onyx G. I can't help but feel in that one, the ball was in Order's court and they tossed it to Onyx G.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what exactly happened there. It just felt like there was no communication between the team. You know, we talk about 2 lackluster finishes where Order just basically didn't do anything in those last couple of rounds, right? Onyx G kind of just waited and held it. And yeah, look, I'm really hurting for Order again because all it can, you know, as a massive Australian Valorant fan,
as an Order enthusiast,
one of the biggest and Order enthusiast, you just didn't see that cohesion in the end, and I'm sure the boys on the desk are feeling the exact same thing. What do you reckon, guys? Just not on the same page, eh?
Hey, as much as you're feeling it for Order, we're feeling it for you guys.
Yeah.
Again,
Big time.
That was serious pain we had there, Jesus.
Fans at home, this is a great commercial on the side effects of copium. It hurts. It hurts, especially when they give you a little bit of life like that. You're stringing together rounds, and on the round that you lose, you get the opening frag, and you're starting to hear Dion just a little bit be like, oh, they got an opening kill?
Yeah, well, this one goes well.
This is the Order that we were waiting to see? This is going to be the one?
And especially after their victory yesterday, you know, especially after having such a good run so far, it kind of hurts extra if you just have a little bit of success and then it just gets taken away from you.
Finished our desk segment. We were walking past the area where they were casting, and you can see Dion just go.
No.
My heart went out to him, really.
Yeah,
I really did.
I like the showing that they had here on Ascent, though. They did have some fight back. It was, and you could see where the mistakes were starting to be made. And also, I remember distinctly a plant on, I believe it was B, where they were going in one at a time. It was multiple times where you saw Order not on the same page, going in one at a time while one was coming to flank on the opposite side, and it showed. It showed over and over again. Whereas Onyx G, as we set up in the highlight earlier, they are the younger team, quicker hands, and they will just ask you a lot of questions. And Order has to have things in order with their answers, and they did not.
I think Secret did this very, very well in that opening game, which was they were very quick to call their timeouts. They were very quick to try and just delay the momentum of their opponents, so that way they could use their experience, their advantage. For Order, I think they did end up coming up with solutions. They did end up coming up with some contingencies.
Victorious side, Severine as well, with multiple big plays. On the opposite, we got the Wrongski. We got the Wrongski sighting, but, you know, I think there are questions to be asked here of some of the other members of the squad.
You're right. Actually, on the topic of sort of members of the squad, while this was a sort of showing us to Order potentially being a little bit slow to react, this was a great showing for Onyx.
Yes.
These guys played out of their minds, particularly on Breeze.
And as much as, like you said, we talked about Order not playing as much as as well as we would have hoped. Yeah, you're right. Onyx did a tremendously good job, as well as with that KO. The follow-up on those frags was absolutely insane.
very great at those flanks, really good at those hit shots. What do you think he can bring to their roster?
I think he can bring quite a bit, you know. I think there's a lot behind them, but I think there's also a lot of anticipation because of the past month, you know. A lot of these teams have improved a lot, have done a lot of pracking, and, you know, have refined some of those rough edges. And I think Bleed is one of those teams that we kind of expect to be at a position where they'll be contenders for this tournament, right? One of the high hitters of it, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm actually very excited about this matchup because now we can see how these adjustments have come into place and how actually competitive they can be in comparison to the rest.
Speaking of comparison, let's have a look at Alter Ego. This is one of Indonesia's favorite teams, and I'm really excited to talk about them. Noxy, Idrin King, Xlavia, Kush, Delby, and we've seen their performance yesterday. Yesterday, each of them were all very, very self-sufficient. They're able to hold their own, but also provide that support for their teammates.
What I really liked from Alter Ego yesterday was the fact that even though the games were close, they never looked like they were panicking at any given point. They looked like a very, very composed team, and particularly when you have the likes of sort of Delby on the Neon, who did have quite a quiet opening to that series. Once he really started to find his groove, you can tell at no point was he sort of overextending, at no point was he getting tilted, and for me, Alter Ego is now sort of emerging as one of those really stable teams, and they're becoming a bit of a measurement as to how good are you in APAC? Well, can you beat Alter Ego? And if you can, then you're pretty good. If you're not, then there's still a bit of work to be done.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about their playstyles. As we know, like, if you look at Indonesian teams, their playstyles are a little bit more just W gaming, very aggressive. We've seen it from the likes of Boom, we've seen it on Onyx. But what about Bleed? I want to say that they play kind of similar to Malaysia, Singapore, but Malaysia, Singapore, they're a little bit more calculative, I believe, the way they play. We've seen it in Paper X as well, but Paper X has a little bit more speed compared to Bleed, who are sometimes, they can really go fast if they want to, but at times they can go super slow and then suddenly just press the pedal to the metal actually, and just go explosive. What do you think, Pavlos?
I think even if that's the case, I think if you look at the other end where Alter Ego come in, I think it's the fact that all 5 players can actually come alive that is really important about it, right? No matter the playstyle, as long as you have every single one of these players kind of having the possibility to clutch up when it's required, is a really important aspect to have. You know, and not many teams do have that. Often you rely on 1 or 2, and that's the case like on one of a lot of these regions, right? You have a lot of support around it, and you kind of expect the first 2 players to enter the site and stuff like that to kind of take on. But for Alter Ego, that isn't really the case.
Right, so let's have a look at the head-to-head. Let's see which players are our favorites for today, and it's going to be Darion and Kush. So Darion, we know, just impressive Jet, Raze player all around. He is a very, very fast-paced player. First on the site, first to get those picks, and first out again. Compared to Kush, Kush isn't a duelist. He's actually an initiator player, but yet you can see that that's why the difference there for the ACS 244 for 219. But why do you think they're being compared?
I mean, yesterday Kush had an incredible opening. Over Cypher on Haven, I mean, that's an endangered species as it is, but he absolutely dominated. I believe he finished something like 26 of 15.
Yes.
Like, out of his mind, and on a Cypher, you just don't expect to see that. I think Gambit did it a good while ago, but since then I can't think of any other Cyphers who have really sprung to mind. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're slowly seeing this come into shape. I think internationally also, that Cypher role or lurking role, if you will, can be very highly influential. If you can hold your own in positions that your opponents won't expect, either that is cutting off rotations or getting into nestling yourself into angles when the rest of the team is trying to attempt to rotate, for example, can do quite a bit. So being able to rely on a player like that is actually massive, and you know, and it can throw a lot of teams off guard.
I mean, when you talk about Cypher, I think previously in Malaysia, Singapore VCT Stage 2, I believe we saw Redla playing with Lays. Huatzai. Playing with Huatzai, yes. Yep. He was a sub. He subbed in because one of the players couldn't play, and I believe he was playing Cypher as well, and his Cypher was actually on point. So honestly, if I could have a head-to-head, I would like to see Kush and Redla. But for now, let's put that aside because we want to talk about predictions. So this is very interesting because we all know, like a lot of people, a lot of fans at home, they pretty much have their heart set on Bleed because, you know, their fan base is huge. We've seen their performance. It's incredible. But what about Alter Ego?
I mean, Alter Ego, there are definitely merits to this team. And
battery
on
80%.
A very good day, they can definitely take down Bleed.
Absolutely.
But
your prediction?
Unfortunately, it's going to have to be Bleed.
Bleed for you.
Yeah.
And Crema?
Oh, it's got to be Bleed.
Bleed? Okay, unfortunately, I do come from Malaysia, Singapore region. It has to be Bleed for me, but...
Triple Bleed.
It's triple Bleed, but remember, we've had situations where it's all triple for one team, and we were just proven otherwise.
Yeah.
So for now, let's talk a little bit about maps. So for Bleed, I think we usually saw on Stage 1 and Stage 2, the map pick was usually Ascent, but do you think that'll be changed?
What I think has become quite consistent for most teams in this region is Ascent becomes a comfort map.
Yeah.
For me, I think Bleed's Haven can actually be very, very strong.
Absolutely.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing either Ascent or Haven as our opening map.
We definitely could be seeing that. and it's Bind
Fracture
that's
out.
going to be for
From
Alter Ego.
Bleed.
From
Sentinel
Bleed.
Haven.
I know,
There we go,
I can
there we
definitely
go.
expect that, and I don't blame them for picking Blind, because when you look at the Bleed side, yes, they've got I mean, their map pool is quite strong as it is. I think Bind is probably where
There's
you
your
can find
Heaven
some
pick.
of your weaknesses. And yeah, as you mentioned, Heaven, standard.
I think best case scenario for Bleed now would be to have Ascent as your final map. What I think is very good from Alter Ego as well is with Bind being our Bind being the first pick, it's a map which we haven't seen Bleed play in a very long time. In the last stage 2, they just didn't play it for the whole tournament. With Icebox being removed, that is going to leave us with Split as a decider.
Wow.
That is interesting. Bear in mind that Bleed have played a fairly effective Split in the past. It's not one that they've sort of liked going to, but it's one they've gone to mainly out of necessity. The one thing I'm interested in, though, is the fact that Alter Ego, their Split is something to fear. Now, knowing that stats, if I'm Bleed, I'm trying to stay away from this third map.
Yeah, 2-0 is definitely the way to go for Bleed. If it goes to a third map, it might get a little bit risky. I don't think that seeing the veto changes my mind about who's going to win this series, but if it does end up going to a third map, Bleed may be in trouble.
Yeah, because personally, Split can go anywhere. That's the reason why it's called Split. Because sometimes you may think that a team has a full hole on that map. Suddenly, something goes awry, and that's it. That's the end, because it's a very tiny map, considering that. But seeing the fact that we're seeing Haven, I am still concerned for Bleed. Bleed has a good track record with Haven, but with the condition that Lexi was there on his breach. But now, it's Retla. And I'm not too sure if they are going to give Retla the same Cypher role that he always did, or is he going to be playing Duelist, because that's the track record that he had. So for now, what do you guys think might happen, or what do you guys want to see from each team? Let's give Premier, Bleed, and Alter Ego to Pavlos.
From Bleed, I think that Darion can be very, very effective, but sometimes he overextends. And I think if you can keep Darion on tight leash, if you can keep him sort of staying very disciplined and very slow, then Bleed are going to have a very good job at trying to find just man advantages and working from there.
I think even though seeing the kind of a new addition over to the Bleed side, I think Alter Ego is very good at adapting. So I want to see them quickly adjusting to how Bleed are going to be playing out, and especially because they start off on their own map pick at the first instance, I think it's the best way to kind of get momentum going in their way right from the start.
All right, so we've already heard coming there from our analysts, so we're going to be taking a quick break. After this, Bleed and Alter Ego, let's see who brings back map number 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last match of the day. It's Bleed versus Alter Ego. Digon here with Key. Key, I feel like I saw you earlier on the broadcast. Just kind of
Pinoy Pride. So are you, right?
Yeah, we are Pinoy Pride. No Filipino squad on this match. Who will be joining them in the victorious column? Let's find out. Bleed versus Alter Ego as the death set up. A lot of firepower on both these squads, but of course, this is the matchup where we're excited to see Bleed, the tournament favorite, on display for the first time.
Yeah, they have the most points, but there is a shift in their lineup.
Yeah.
Lexi is not playing anymore. We've seen Lexi with Bleed since the very beginning. There's a big difference now. They've subbed in Redla, and that's because Lexi has to serve military service for Singapore.
A thing that happens in esports that doesn't happen many other places, but it affects a lot here, and it has affected this squad. So Redla coming on in. Upgrade, yes?
It's kind of a different player. Redla's a bit more of a Sentinel dedicated player. At least when he was playing before, it could have changed this time around. We have not seen this new iteration of Bleed really play. So I'm excited to see what it is, like whether it will be Redla who's actually changing things up. Will it be Pith who's the one who has been flexing a lot? Will he be the one taking the duelist mantle? We will have to see that.
Yeah, well, Agent Select is underway right now. You see on the left, it is Alter Ego, Axlavia locking in the smokes, as expected. Noxie gonna go with the chamber. Sky for Dern King. Delby on Raze.
Oh.
There we go, Fade going in. Here's your answer.
Double controller for Bleed. I think that's the most interesting part here. I expected Redla to go back to that Sentinel role and kind of shift things around, but it looks like they're sticking to it, and instead they've changed their agent compositions a bit to be, well, spicier.
Yeah, and also this map select was interesting as well. Bind was played only twice in VCT Stage 2 for Bleed at all.
Yeah,
it was 50-50.
They don't like it.
Yeah, not their favorite. And then on the opposite side, Haven, which is map number 2, played 11 times for Bleed. So a lot of either going with the flow or going against the flow here for Bleed in the early portions. We get into map number 1, Bind.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting for me as well, is that Lenny is also, used to be that Sova dedicated player. Sometimes he'd flex a little bit, but of course with Fade coming into the meta, we're seeing a new Bleed here, basically.
Again, I always love it. The new players wearing the tag.
Yeah.
So Bleed Redla.
Bleed Redla. I'm new here, by the way.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. As and kicking things off, Prowler going to get a little bit of information as be the early focus, but no full committal so far for Bleed on attack.
Yeah, and Darion's on that Raze as well. Normally we see him on the Jet. That's kind of like his signature. But of course on Bind, a lot of teams prefer running the Raze. You know, sometimes there's the Yoru, Paper X. But Raze is the duelist of choice on this map. And it looks like it's going to be a slow start for Bleed, which is kind of their signature. They go for that slow and then sudden explosion into the site, just as we're seeing right now. There's a Trailblazer as well. And Shorty reloaded. Has a rendezvous out, Digon.
Rendezvous to safety. Nice little poison right there on the bottom. Does a decent amount of damage that allows the cleanup to come through, and the spike has been planted. A already taken. The Shorty not going to land right there, so Darian forced to back on off. Oh, paint shells. It's coloring up. Redla has to get out. Darian gets finished off as Delby picks up the kill. And now Redla flashed, can't see anything, goes down. Where's the rest of the team on the defense? It's over in A main. One in shower, shots coming on through. Lenny trying to hold the corner. The Frenzies picks it up, and now it's a 1v1. You love to see it when pistol rounds come down to this. It's just a quick tap. No information for Delby.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, Delby trying to get
effective.
it. Oh, and Maxi picks it up. He's Mr. Clutch here for Bleed, and they get the pistol round win after a slow start.
Looked a little bit messy with the aim there because of the gravity well. He was shaking. He was shaking on that spike.
But just with that, Bleed taking the early lead. I like how you set that up. Bleed, a team that likes to go slow, get the information as much as they can, and then decide and explode onto a site.
Yeah, they like doing that. They keep doing the same thing. It's always Lenny setting up Darion to go in, a little bit of the support, a little bit of the smokes coming in. With this lineup as well, I think the most important part is you have 2 controllers, and you have the Fade to give that information for behind the smokes, allowing Darion to shoot through the smoke and get information past the smokes that you normally wouldn't get.
Well, the buy up here for Bleed, picking up a Vandal as well. And just a full save for the opposite side for Alter Ego. They're going to save and play for this round 2, unless they can find an early Thrifty in this one.
Yeah, it looks to be difficult as if you take a look at Bleed's buyout, actually, Darion and Maxi have already bought Vandals in this round, so they're investing deep into this round. They're expecting to make it out of this round with at least 3 players alive to carry it over to their bonus round to really give Alter Ego a run for the money in round number 3.
Yeah, we saw a couple of shorty plays over in Lamps earlier. Not the case here. Classics for everyone on Alter Ego as the execution onto A has been started. Both Nebulas blocking off the back part of the site. Axelovia has realized it and backs a little bit further up in Showers. They still don't know that Vandals are in the hands of the opposite side as the only kill was picked up with the Spectre.
Yeah, nothing has been revealed just yet, and there's nothing that AE have in their pockets. It's all classics. They're electing to really full save here, so they're going to try their best to get as many kills as they can. I think the most dangerous part of this map right now is Lamps, where they seem to be exercising.
Yeah, Pith really likes that corner. It works out the quads. Again, we're going straight to quads in the second round of this one.
Yeah, but with the classics, they're not even peeking. They just want to go for the exits here or die to the spike. They don't want to give the ultimate orbs. They don't want to give the creds.
Love it.
Which is why they're just standing there and they're just... All 4 of them are planning to run into the spike. This is absolutely magical. But Alter Ego have planned this. They knew what they were doing. Look at this. 4 of them just dying to the spike. No extra creds. No extra ultimate charges for you.
All right. Well, again, they realized we did not have the gun advantage here, so if we're going to get a kill, it has to be them peeking into us. We're not too worried about the round. We're more worried about the economy. And so Bleed get themselves 2 rounds, no casualties, and it looks like their early buy-up paid off.
Yeah, two Vandals and a Bulldog. Normally, at most, you do 2 rifles coming into this round. I think this is an absolutely stellar buy from them, especially if they can convert to kills. They can make it so expensive for Alter Ego. Looking at their economy, they have all at least 2.7k each, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, opposite side, the most they have is 200 credits on Kush as they defend yet again. Bleed pushing in through Hookah. And now have gained a little bit of space, not too much action yet up long. It is 3 members, about to be all 5 members inside Hookah, as one Sky Smoke comes down, guiding light, ready and in the hands of Retla, the new member. As now Alter Ego sending 1, 2, 3 members up long, and there it is. Maxi was ready for it, picks up 1, has information that Kush is pushing around, but the site is left completely unoccupied. And so Bleed will get themselves the plant, but information on where they're coming from long.
Yeah, it's easily too long, that's for sure. They're going to get sandwiched, so I think Bleed want to push the spawn, actually. They're taking a look at their positions. They've made it so that they can't be sandwiched. They're playing elbow. They're playing that long haul so that they can take the fight to them instead of getting sandwiched. There's 1, there's 2. Last 2 left. 4v2 right now, and it looks like Bleed just might convert this bonus round. 3v1. They're not even peeking. They're just toying with their food right now. Whiffs here and there, and Pith gets the headshot. And Bleed, this is a conversion of the bonus round. This is a statement from Bleed.
Yeah, that's a lot of money on the side of Bleed, and we, as we called out, only 200 creds on the side of Alter Ego at most. And so now, like, in this ego buy, half buy kind of situation, the Bleed sitting pretty, only losing 2. The only thing that could have been scary there is on the site, possibly, I think it was Lenny that was on the site with the Bulldog.
Yeah, he was the only one standing there.
If he died early, then maybe you're in a panic, but otherwise the triple peek down long across elbow, smart play pays off, and Bleed in full control of this early part of this map.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to say. We're in round number 3, but you can see the discipline that they have. You can see that they're firing in all 5 cylinders already. They look like they're playing on the 3rd or 4th game of a best-of-5 grand finals. That's how it looks like right now. They're moving very tight. And on the other hand, Alter Ego, something to note though, we saw this yesterday, they're Alter Ego. So I would be scared of this.
And also, we were wondering if Order and Alter Ego as our 2 victors from yesterday playing today would have momentum. Bleed says none of that. We're showing class. Every time we have a gun advantage, we play slow. We're playing long lines that don't allow for surprises, and then forcing Alter Ego to make a bet on which site they're going to go to. And this time, Alter Ego still 3 on A, 2 on B, and now making the rotation off. They will be rotating the Brimstone over.
It looks like there's a read. Yeah, the Brimstone already rotating over, but it doesn't matter because Bleed are already pushing onto the site. They already found 1 kill. They've already put the smokes down. They've taken control over the front half of the site.
Yeah, Pith took the teleporter back on over to B, but no fake there. Sheriff headshot not going to land. There's 1 trade as Delby picks up 1, but Still so many left alive. Axelovia peeking and gets his head ripped right on off. Now it's just a Dern King over in spawn. He sees Darian. Will he line it up? No, he won't. And Darian, one of the top 10 damage dealers in all of the APAC region, showing off exactly why.
I think that for the side of Bleed, they've been living with so many members alive for every round that they win. That is actually really scary because they just keep rolling the creds over. Maxi's almost max.
Yeah.
And on the side of Alter Ego, their economy is hurting so much that if they lose this next round, it's just going to hurt yet again. So this timeout is really good because they can full buy this time, and they need to figure this out against Bleed.
Yeah. Bleed has just been playing slow. We haven't seen Alter Ego get aggressive and try to get any wraparound, make the map smaller so that they can get the numbers advantage yet. So maybe they'll do that in this round where they have guns, where they have Vandals to answer back. But so far, it has been all Bleed at their own pace as well. A lot of the time, you'll see teams that are winning just adjust well. This isn't adjustment. This is them saying, this is our strategy. Are you better than us? Answer so far, 4-0.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And I think that Alter Ego, they are respecting Bleed quite a bit.
Maybe too much?
Yeah, maybe too much. I was going to say that because they're not pushing out for that information.
Correct.
And they're waiting to receive Bleed. We know they're a burst team. We know that they're just going to set up and run over a site after an X amount of time. We don't know what it is, but you need to get information before that. I think Alter Ego are afraid of the default that Bleed is running. They're afraid to lose members. They're afraid to take the duels. And I think that might be something that they need to change.
Well, I alluded to it earlier. Darian in the top 10 in terms of average combat score. He expanded out to the top 20. 2 more names joined that list. Surprisingly, they're both on Alter Ego's side. It's Delby and Kush. See if they're able to answer here as round number 5 begins, and more of the same. It's slow information gathering for Bleed. This time, no one at B, more on A. Let's see if they run into anyone as Toxic Screen up, coming down soon. Trademark destroyed. Oh, and the lineup happens here for Noxy, not able to get the next one, so it is a 3v3 so far. Seekers have been dropped. Kush doesn't realize Maxi's on the flank quite yet. Very focused on the site retake, and that's going to be great timing. Maxi missed a couple. That's okay. We didn't see that. A Dern King and Axelovia from CT starting to push on up to the site, but the bomb was not planted. The rotate works out really well, and it's not only the kills, but the fake out from Bleed.
I think Maxi is one of the players that's very known for how he lurks and how he finds these openings that when so much trouble is caused by Darren on the site, Maxi will compound that even further because he's coming in from the side, he's coming in from the back, he's coming in from everywhere. You don't know where he's coming from. And he's normally on that Omen, he's on this Astra this time, and now it's just a Dren King 1v3, and he seems very lost.
Again, a Dren King not worried about the spike, not worried about getting the site, but checking every corner across the whole map to see.
Because Maxi might be there.
Dang guy, Maxi's just hanging around here, ruining my day. There you go, he got him in astral form. And he's like, all right, that's good enough.
Yeah, he got a kill. He needs to save it. He has...
Oh, Redla walking into it. There's the blind, and yeah, he wins the blind battle, but now Lenny knows. Lenny lines it up, and a Dern King. He does get the kills. We do know that Bleed are rich. They're fine. They'll be able to buy back on up, but it's 5 rounds now in the book for Bleed, and it's kind of weird that we're counting this a round loss where 4 members of your team die, a small victory here for Alter Ego.
Yeah, it is a small victory, you're right, but at the same time, Adren King, the rest of his teammates can't buy this round. Saving that Vandal is kind of like, well, it hurts.
Yeah.
Right? You're with a big gun, your teammates can't really help you out with that. They have the Sheriffs though, and I think that Alter Ego just need to really tweak something. You need to find the information. So you need to find the early trades to stop Bleed in their tracks. They tried to do that just now. Chamber, Noxy teleporting out. Wasn't able to find anyone, but Kush gets the first headshot. We're not seeing it right now as we're hovering over. We'll be there soon.
Yeah,
it looks like a showstopper from Darian is going to come out. Let's see if he finds anyone.
Yeah, it looks like he's looking in towards Lamps. Did he find anyone? I don't think so. And here we go. The site has been attacked. Spike has been planted. Delby is able to pick up one. And Alter Ego with 2 members still left alive. The 2 lurkers from Bleed coming up soon. One in heaven goes down, so it's just Maxi left alive. He does get the stun out. Where's Maxi coming from? He's holding get right box, trying to shoot on through it, and he saves the round. Bleed get the victory. It's expensive, but they want to collect those round wins. It's 6-0.
Yeah, 6-0. We were concerned about them being on bind, playing on bind after not playing it enough in the last APAC Stage 2. But it seems like they're very comfortable with it. This lineup is actually working very well. For all five members are just finding the kills, finding the right places. We haven't even seen Pith pop off yet. We've seen so many of that in APAC. They don't need to. He doesn't need to do anything.
Yeah, Darian's doing it. Maxi's doing it. That's good enough. Also, another showstopper goes wide here on bind. We saw many of them yesterday.
Many.
Darian not landing his, but at least Delby landed his. So
yeah.
Raze players, you're still okay right now as we go into round number 7. More of the same. Let's go ahead and set this up. Noxy, I don't think Noxy saw Maxi get to the opposite side, and the battle of the Xyz goes to Maxi on this one.
Maxi is probably the sneakiest player in APAC. Like, just the jump through in that smoke, he knew that there would be a tour de force waiting behind it. Finds the kill because Noxy was scoped down. It's his sneakiness that just decimates defenses so much.
And a play like that where you get read like a book, you know that the ultimate is up, you know that tour de force is sitting in showers, and you're like, okay, this is it, this is my round, this is time to pop off, and you just immediately read. Feels bad. Feels very bad.
Yeah, it doesn't do well for the confidence, and right now it's going to be that bleed execute yet again. Darian going in. Does not find anyone, though. Kush is going to be there for the kill. Delby finds another one as well. 3v4 right now. Kush finds yet another kill through the smoke this time around. There's the Han coming out. Delby finds a kill. All down to Pith with 28 HP, but that's just not enough to do anything at all as Axel finds the final kill.
Yeah, we get to see reverse utility now coming on through. It's about time, slowing them down on the push. As you said, the key to Bleed is their explosive push once they decide to go onto the site. It gets slowed by multiple different things, and it gives Alter Ego, who we know has good guns, they've got great hands, they're able to slow it down and pick up the victory.
Yeah, they finally got that first round that they've sorely needed. 6-1 still a mountain to climb for them. They finally got the op onto Noxy's hands this time around. Will that be effective? We'll have to see, because they've always found a way to take this operator out of his hands.
All right, so Bleed didn't find success at A. Let's go on over to B. They clear out Hookah, fully clear, and Darian's like, okay, we know no one's there, so we can hold and figure out what we want to do on this side. Pith joining in, and Maxi down at long A, long B, just kind of hanging out.
I see some doubt on the side of Alter Ego. They were about to rotate the Raze, and then all of a sudden rotated them back. It looks like Darian tried to go in, but Axel was going to be there. Red Lust there for the trade. Adren King finds Maxi, though. The spike is going to go down. The Seekers are going to help them buy some time, but the flash from Adren King finds two. Gets traded by Pith. Last one standing. He has the Viper's Pit, but he might have gotten caught. He doesn't know there's someone behind him as Noxy takes him down. The Viper's Pit did not cover him fast enough.
There we go. He was out of charges until the very end. You know what else was out of his charges? Some of the bullets that he had locked into the sniper rifle, into the operator. I think that was 4 missed operator shots there by Noxy. I think he had one on Darian, one when they jumped outside, and then missed that open back there by Pith. And I'm wondering if that's some of the leftover tilt from the round before when he had the tour de force and got read like a book. He does able to make up the play, but what a huge flash here by Adren King.
Yeah, this Viper's Pit, I think he was expecting to be safe from elbow. Just had his back towards that. Didn't want to go into pit right away. It's one of those things where sometimes you cast it, you walk back, and then you walk back in so that you kind of get the jump onto them.
Right.
And you didn't expect someone from behind him.
No, definitely not. I also like that it kind of gives us as viewers an idea where you don't have complete information as a player, but they have to make a decision. They're like, Pith in this one saying, I have to assume no one's behind me so I can play this correctly.
Exactly.
So even before you even get to shooting and reactions, he was wrong on that cast. And so it's now 2 rounds here for Alter Ego. Very needed. And now, opposite side, Bleed. finally running out of credits. This is an important round for them.
Exactly. So they have some light armors. They have a Bulldog on Maxi. Definitely hurting a little bit, but they still want to push the envelope here because they still want to take it to Alter Ego. They went for the timeout. They feel like, okay, we can still do this. But the last two executes that they've had were stopped in their tracks by Alter Ego. With differing styles too. So
Correct.
on the A side, it was a stop head on. On the B side, it was a slight stop into a retake or stop them as they're planting. When Adren King actually pushed up forward there, he just got the timing right, and I think Alter Ego are starting to feel it.
Yeah, and remember, Adren King got the kill on Maxi, who was the late lurker, would help out the rest of the team. Here we go, quick peek. Noxy tries to find it, not quite able to, and now the site being aggressed upon. A is open as two members pull out of showers. Maxi on the flank gets caught by Delby. The TP's heard, so they know at least two people are coming from showers. And now the TP on over to B, so Bleed with an immediate call, and they catch Alter Ego napping.
This quick decision-making from Bleed should net them quite a bit of time. They can get the spike down. They'll probably burn and shave 10 seconds off the clock. On the other side, Alter Ego are running towards B this time. They're trying to sandwich Bleed, and this is where Bleed's post-plants become very important. Can they hold this?
Oh, elbow play as we trade out ulties. They're in looking down long. That's the trade down to 2 HP. Orbital Strike lands on nothing at the edge of elbow as now Noxy able to pick one up. Darian answering back. Only one left alive, though, as it does look like it's going the way of Alter Ego. Quick headshot here. Double peek, and it lines up, and Alter Ego do it yet again. They line up in front of each other in the double peek, and it's a hero play by the Captain Myth, finding the victory there.
Oh my god, it's the exact same thing that happened yesterday. They swung out too much together. They stuck together too much, and Pith finding that 1v3, that was not supposed to happen. That smoke was supposed to hide them and save them from the bullets, but instead they both peeked out. Pith was able to connect on the triple kill.
Oh dear. Oh dear. All right. Well, Alter Ego, at least you could string 2 rounds together, but to have it happen that way, the same way that it happened yesterday against Cerberus, doesn't feel great. Those were 2 standout lineup moments. It almost happened earlier with Maxi lurking back at spawn. They didn't get punished there, but this time happens early on in a pretty key round that would have broken the economy of Bleed, and now Alter Ego in a half-buy situation.
And Bleed, they're not great for economy either because they lost too many members there. Pith watching the flank, finds one, finds a second one as well. He's still feeling it. That's 5 in a row for him now. 3 from the previous round. A double this time, and it's starting to look very good for Bleed. On the side of Alter Ego, some of them have actually bought a Hero Vandal Kush, trying to salvage this round. He's walking out of A. He might just engage on Pith very soon.
Oh, yep. He's able to find one. Oh, that's a bad time to pull out his skill. Shoots out the Haunt and then gets ran over by a triple peek. That's how you do without lining up. As Bleed now take the site. They use a lot of utility. Don't realize it's wide on open, but they'll get the plant down in just a little bit as the last 2 members from Alter Ego rotate through CT.
It's just very painful for them right now because we're closing in on the last round of this half, and Alter Ego, they seem to have not found a solution just yet, and they're just dying left and right because they just can't find an inch. I think Bleed just take too much map control for Alter Ego to set up, to find the kills, to set each other up for success.
And think about it, in this case, Alter Ego did push out A short to try and get some information.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Pith was there. So unlike the earlier rounds that we were seeing, it wasn't a team sitting back and getting ran over. This time they tried to get back, they just got punished.
Still hasn't worked, and they didn't have the guns in that round. This time they do. I think this is the important one because this is the round that dictates whether they go 4-8 or possibly 2-10.
Yeah. You lose this one, it's going to hurt a lot. You see the scoreboards right there. Kush and Delby still having a good performance, but right now it's a team effort across the board for the top 3 players for Bleed. As we start here in showers, Boombot into Boombot. Haunt gets a little bit of information there. The TP has been taken behind 2 players, and now they're stuck. Here it goes. Does he get it out? Yes, he does, but Retla gets the kill first. They know another one's there. Delby tries to shoot it on through, able to trade out Lenny, and now it's just 1 left alive, squished in the corner. It's Delby. Will Delby be able to get himself out? He gets stunned, but does not give off any indication of where he's at. They do have information, though, as Retla is still holding the angle. Retla waiting for them to step closer towards the spike. Here we go. Delby peeking to the right, gets shot on the left, and that's the end of the round. Round 11, and as you said, a step closer to 2-10 for Bleed.
This Bleed just look very, very good right now. We see why they're the top team in the rankings. We've seen why they've gotten so close to beating Paper X and Xerxia. They're clearly the third place team, at least from the previous Stage 2 playoffs.
Yeah.
They are very clearly right there with the likes of those two teams. For Alter Ego, this is where they had to prove themselves, and right now it looks like Bleed are still just a bit too much better.
Yeah.
Alter Ego Select.
You know, and I think a lot of the time in tournaments, especially LCQs, you want to see the underdog runs, but I love seeing a team that is in that #1 spot play with the pressure, with everything around them to be the #1 spot. You don't have to be perfect, but you have the best team out there, and that's what Bleed's playing like right now, and that's huge props to them so far, 11 rounds in. Hopefully we didn't just cast a curse with the monologue, but that's what it looks like it's going towards right now.
For sure, and it's another pretty broken buy for Alter Ego. They can't really muster up that buy. I think that's the story of this whole half. They just couldn't bring the creds over and over because they tried some forces, they lost too many members when they won. For the side of Bleed, they don't even need an op for this attacking side. They don't like doing that. That's not what they do, and it works out very well for them. They're playing that slow default yet again. Alter Ego clearly has not found any way to stop this because they're still 3 on A. They haven't found any information. Bleed are playing very slow, but they are still going to take control over this B site. They use the Cosmic Divide to take 1 kill. They're already rushing in. They're bursting in already into this site, and they will find a Dren King this time.
Oh, they're right next to each other. A Dren King has no idea. The Nebula is confusing. They are looking near each other. Oh, it's a panic, and Darian able to win the battle of reflexes. Dren King goes down, and now Noxy has to go through the decay. Gets one, but slayed by the other. Here we go. Noxy trying to win an elbow, and that elbow gets broken right on off. It's Bleed. 10-2. Dominant first half.
I did not expect this to be this strong for Bleed. I did not expect this map to go this well for them. I thought it was probably going to be neck and neck. Like, coming to the second half, 6-6, probably end the game, like, with double-digit scoreline. It just looks like Bleed have retooled and found a new combination with the inclusion of Retla coming into this, and they look like a refreshed roster.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about agent composition. The extra initiator is now throwing things off here for Alter Ego. Again, that extra initiator, nicer on attack compared to defense. Generally, we could say that, but it really has thrown Alter Ego off to the point where I think there's tilt. We go back to that last round. As the team was walking up B long, Axlavia's crosshair was not, it was like constantly looking at the arch.
Exactly.
By the time he got killed, and in their victory, their guns were working against Cerberus.
Yes.
We're not seeing that right now.